None at all. Visitors should be thankful, but don't come at all. Come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, but don't come at all. Where was the xenophobia when we were fighting with Ethiopia? Where were the bros when we exposed King and Leopold? Where were the vision for righteous when we fought for laws that made y'all migrants? Some grateful, some hateful, but all put up to our table and pulled out with a plate full. All put up to our table and pulled out with a plate full. No disrespect in my house, 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 visitors should be thankful, I don't come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, I don't come at all. Where was the xenophobia when we were fighting with Ethiopia? Where were the bros when we exposed King Leopold? Where were the visa for righteous when we fought for laws that made y'all migrants? Some grateful, some hateful, but all put up to our table and poured out with a plate full. All put up to our table and poured out with a plate full. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, I don't come at all. No disrespect in my house, 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 in my house. Visitors should be thankful, I don't come at all.
I'm Jamaican.
You ain't black.
Then what am I?
Jamaican.
I'm black.
You Jamaican.
No.
You Jamaican.
No.
It's a difference. It's a difference.
Okay, describe the difference.
If I go to your...
What color is my skin?
Bruh.
What color is my skin?
Yellow.
Okay, and it derives from?
Even white derived from black. Even white derived from black. All colors in the color spectrum come from the black. But y'all have been classified as Jamaicans.
When I fill out a paperwork here in the States, it doesn't say Jamaican anywhere.
How can you describe me as being black? You have a name. You're Jamaican.
And you're American.
Well, I'm black American.
Okay, I'm black Jamaican.
It don't say that. You're making something up now. It don't say that. Our paperwork, we have to check something. When you go back home, you don't check nothing. You're automatic Jamaican.
Right.
I'm not automatic American. I'm automatic black.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So, when we say black, we talking us.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't us. Don't y'all got Jamaican food?
Yes.
Don't y'all have a Jamaican culture?
Yes.
We don't. So, we those seeds. We are not African seeds. We don't have no African bloodline. other than what the white boy have.
Black American. That is where the issue comes from. And this is not only about Ruiz, that is the name of that man, the Puerto Rican man who is calling himself a Black American. It's the trends that we're seeing happening in America. We are seeing many Latinos migrating from Dominican Republic, from Trinidad and Tobago, from Jamaica, even Africans. They go to America, they live there for 10 years, they learn their accent, they start mixing with Black Americans, and then all of a sudden they start calling themselves Black Americans. There's a big issue that is happening in the Black American community, and that is why you have seen Black Americans starting a movement of delineating themselves from these other groups. And I want these immigrants to understand that when these Black Americans are pushing back, it's not because they hate them, it's not because they want division, it's not because they don't want unity, but it is because they want to preserve their own identity. They want to protect their own lineage. Because think about it, if everybody can go to America and then start saying that I am a Black American just because I have dark skin color or because I have an African ancestry, then what is going to happen over time? That Black American identity is going to be watered down. According to what we have already started seeing, confusion has already started happening.
Abyssinia in 1924, he documented as Abyssinia, but then all of a sudden in 1931, he made it Ethiopia, because even though how much they want to try and say life started in Ethiopia, it still doesn't have an actual geographical location, because basically the whole world, when it was just us here, was basically Ethiopia.
Let me get Revenue on here. Revenue, this is a bad time to call in, my guy. Revenue.
Hey Ron, what's going on, King?
Yeah, bro, this is a bad time to call in.
Why you say that?
Because of our last conversation. I guess I was fatigued or tired or something, but I wasn't catching what you were saying until you got off. And I rewatched it. I said, oh, this guy finessed me. Now, you said...
How finesse?
Because you said... You was using the word black. You said Stokely Carmichael redefined black.
Yeah.
No. He took an existing word already. He added black power, my guy. He's not the founder of black. He's the founder of black power.
I never said he was a founder of black. I never said he was a founder of black.
Hey, okay, then that was both of our mistakes then, because you said it and I was saying it, but we both were saying it for sure. Oh, well, okay, so it was a simple mistake. But anyway, what's up?
I wanted to know, do you have any dictionary where black is synonymous with being American only?
Okay, so now let me help you out. Dictionaries don't define people, all right? Okay, so look, take this in. You can Google it. Dictionaries define words, but doesn't define people. So now with words, you have, With words, you have the etymology and then you have application. So how the word is being applied and how it's defined doesn't work together. For example, when Hispanics say mayate, right? Go back over there. That just means black beetle. That has nothing to do with a human being. But they apply it on human beings. So now a simple word that defines an insect becomes a slur, a racial slur. Okay, so it's application, then it's definition. So black has a definition and black has an application. And the way we apply black is not from a definition standpoint, because Dr. King had read off the definitions in his speech. He said black ball is like usually ugly things. Lamenting is black. So usually ugly things are, when you apply it to people, it's like have a when you apply black to people, by definition, it has a historical negative connotation. So we Black Americans were the first people to make black have positive connotations when it's applied to people. We did that.
Okay. So what gives you the right to say that Africans aren't black if they identify themselves as black? The same way I can't find no census in American history
You don't
where
need
Black
to.
American is an ethnic group.
Okay. Now let me help you out. So now this is simple research. Black Americans. When Dr. King said he's black and beautiful, he didn't check a racial box. So that's called forging. When you call yourself something and there's no racial box to check, you're just saying, "Hey, I'm black. I'm black." That is how ethnicities begin. You be calling yourself something. You don't need the government to stamp it, my guy. You don't need the government to stamp your something for you to be something. For example, the government unstamped indigenous people and re-stamped them as Negroes. Were they Negroes? No, they were still indigenous people. So just because the government re-stamps or decide not to stamp you, don't mean you're that. Complacent people are afraid to fight, and weird people who are obsessed with white folks, they believe the whitey man words and definitions are the end all be all. Every human being has a right to define themselves. So the American government, yes, they did an erasure. I'm so glad you're pointing this out. Yes, that's called paper genocide, my guy. When you call yourself something, but your government make that word something else, that's literally paper genocide.
Okay, but
yes.
but we can find black in every English-speaking country that was colonized: Jamaica, Barbados, Zimbabwe, South Africa.
Okay, look. Yeah, but hold on. You said fine. Well, it's a color.
No, it's not.
Hold up. Wait. Just hear me out. You just said you can find black in Jamaica.
Yeah, on every census in Jamaica, Zimbabwe, South Africa.
But But is it a racial census, my guy? That's what you keep messing up at. Is it?
No. It's an ethnic. It's an ethnic.
So hold on. So Jamaican politics are called what?
What you said?
Politics in Jamaica is called what? Jamaican politics, right?
Yeah, that's the that's the nation. Right, that's not the that's not the ethnic group.
No.
Jamaica has many ethnic groups.
My guy, you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying politics in Jamaica are called Jamaican politics, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they called Jamaican beaches?
Yeah.
The money's called what?
The Jamaican dollar.
Right. That's called ethnically Jamaican. When you call everything what you are ethnically, that becomes ethnic.
No. I know that you don't got a country, so you don't really understand.
I got it. Well, listen, you ain't got a mic, right? I ain't got a country. You ain't got a voice on this platform. He's a fool, and he's seen where I was going.
Abyssinia in 1924, he documented as Abyssinia, but then all of a sudden in 19...
Because when they hear black, then they connect that to all people who are a darker skin.
Right. And that's another mistake, that he's not listening. Like, he's borrowing the definition of a whitey man and calling everybody black, and he's not listening on purpose because he doesn't want to understand. Like you're saying about Triptych, like these guys want to play to be in a state of confusion, but they're not. So Peacemaker's back. So the way I dialogue, my guy, I dialogue with understanding. I don't go back and forth with the name calling and foolishness.
I never called you no name.
I didn't say you did. I said what I don't do, because I know you're into TikTok spaces that do that. You're on a platform where you're going to be held to the higher standard of research. Now, your ethnicity is Igbo, right?
Yes.
What is Black Americans' ethnicity?
Your ethnicity is Black Americans. I don't know. I don't know.
Stop. You don't know, so won't you know now? So you can sort of, my God, you don't know, so now you're gonna know.
Okay, what is it?
It's black. Now, black. Okay, so then right there. So black is a name we chose. It could have been white. It could have been red. It could have been yellow. It could have been a cat. It could have been Burger King. These are just words to identify yourself. We chose black. It had nothing to do with a phenotype. Off the shelf, but some schools actually put in their program that we were indentured servants. Like, we got paid. Like, we came here for work.
because when they hear black, then they connect that to all people who are darker skin.
Right. And that's another mistake, that he's not listening. Like, he's borrowing the definition of a whitey man and calling everybody black, and he's not listening on purpose because he doesn't want to understand. Like you saying about Triptych, like these guys want to play to be in a state of confusion, but they're not.
So look, this is for Tethernew. All right, this is for Tethernew. Okay. So remember, he said that, let me make this smaller. Okay. Remember, he said that Jamaicans had a black ethnic identity. All right, so hold on 1 second. So here you go. So now I already know better, but this is for you guys because I'm saying something, he disagreeing. So here is the verdict. Let's let AI judge. So no, Revenue. Historically, Jamaica did not traditionally use black as its primary ethnic identity in the same way modern Americans use it today. Historically, in Jamaica, Revenue, Tethernew, and other tethers, Jamaica nationality is Jamaican, right? Ethnic ancestry, African descendant, Afro-Jamaican. Like I said, Jamaican is their ethnicity and nationality. East Indian, Chinese Jamaican. So these are the other ethnicities he was talking about, family. He's being very disingenuous. He was pretending like Jamaicans, you know, themselves that was enslaved and colonized. He's trying to pretend like they had tribes over there. That's the way he framed it. The other ethnicities are people from other countries who are never originally Jamaican. They got nationality, Chinese, Jamaican, whatever, but they're not the original Jamaicans who were enslaved there. Forced slavery from chattel slavery, stemming from Africa, right? Where Africans enslaved and sold them to the European, right? Now look, Chinese, Jamaican, etc. Black was primarily a racial color descriptor. That's exactly what I said to him. A colonial classification. Exactly what I said to him. Look at the last one. Or later, a political identity. Later. That later is way after 1960, the way we use it. It was not originally a unique ethnonym the way many modern Black Americans use Black today. Liar. Which I already know. That's why I kicked them off. I didn't want to have that disingenuous conversation because time wasting tether, right?
You're a time wasting tether. This is time wasting tether babble.
So when he says Black is an ethnic group in Jamaica, that is mostly a modern reinterpretation or political social shorthand, not the traditional historical structure of Jamaican identity. All right, so now let me throw this in there. Because this is what I be saying that they be doing. When I say they, a lot of tethers. Okay. They're being anachronistic, okay? Anachronistic describes anything that exists out of its proper time in history, derived from the Greek ana, against, and chronos, time, against time. It refers to elements such as objects, language, custom, or ideas that clash chronologically with their setting. Okay? So they're going back in time and using modern words to describe people that those modern words were not around at that time. So going back calling Jamaicans or Africans Black in a positive sense, they're being anachronistic, right? Cannot do that. That's disingenuous and that's babble. Like these guys can't even comprehend it. Okay, so it says what Jamaica historically used. Let's see if black's in there. During British colonial rule, right? That means exonyms. As I was trying to explain to the guy, Jamaica used categories like Negro, colored, African, Creole, mulatto, maroon, East Indian, white, Chinese, Syrian, Lebanese. Those were the actual historical population labels. You do not see black functioning as a distinct ethnic nationality category in the 1700s, 1800s, or early 1900s Jamaican framework. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Nobody is better than me on this subject of black. Nobody. I'm the leading scholar on this. Everybody is using my work and what I expose and disclose. Right? So it says that's important. Was black used? So I'm giving y'all the entire Google, a ChatGPT answer. Okay, your argument is much stronger historically and conceptually than his, but both of you are talking past each other because you're using the word black differently, as I keep telling you guys. But he was pretending like he was using it like me. These are non-wise people. I'm be nice. Was black used in Jamaica? Yes, but mostly as a racial color term, family. If y'all was watching the little 6-minute clip, I kept saying, bro, wasn't it used racially in Jamaica? No, ethnically. Example, black population, black masses, black workers. This was common across the British Empire. That's what he's talking about. But that does not automatically mean black equals a formal ethnicity, unwise guy. That's where your opponent is collapsing categories. Tether knew. The big confusion, which I kept trying to tell these guys, the big confusion, and I'm gonna go on TikTok tonight, if I don't fall asleep. The big confusion, race versus ethnicity versus nationality. Your opponent is mixing all three. Tether New is mixing all three. In Jamaica, nationality, Jamaican. Ethnic subgroups, African Jamaican. The word Jamaican still there in ethnicity. Indo-Jamaican, in East Indians, Chinese Jamaican, Maroon, etc. So the dude is just really badly unwise, or he just just being disingenuous. And I don't think he's bright enough to know this stuff. Racial descriptors, black, white, brown, mixed. Those are different concepts. He's lumping them all together. He's a horrible researcher. Did Jamaica have black in census records? Yes, but context matters. Tether New. Colonial and post-colonial censuses often use black, white, mixed, East Indian, etc. But that was usually race. Like I told this dude, no, ethnically. But that was usually race, color, or broad population classification, not a distinct ethnos in the modern sociological sense. It was exonymic. The British was using those to describe the Jamaicans. They were not using those terms to describe themselves. That's similar to South Africa using black, white, color, Indian. Those are racialized administrative categories. That does not mean black historically functioned as a singular ethnic people with one culture and one lineage in Jamaica, my guy. Your main point about black Americans, unbiased Ron, this is where your point has historical weight. I know. I put the time and research in. In the United States, especially after the Harlem Renaissance, civil rights, Black Power movement, and the rejection of Negro, many Black Americans transformed Black into a positive identity, political identity, culture identity, and eventually an ethno-culture identifier. This shift became especially prominent late 1960s, early 1970s. That's historically true. But before that, Black was often considered insulting or purely descriptive in mainstream English uses. Insulting. Come on, man. So was Jamaica using Black as an ethnicity before Black Americans? Not really in the modern sense your opponent is implying. Jamaicans absolutely use the word Black, but usually racially, socially, politically, or descriptively, exonyms, not as our ethnic nation is Black. That's why I kept telling the guys, what is Jamaicans politics called? Jamaican politics. What is the economy called? Jamaican economy, economics. What is your money called? The Jamaican dollar? Your flag, Jamaican flag. Everything in Jamaican society is Jamaican. So it's ethnic. You guys are ethnically Jamaican. Nothing is called black. You dig? So historically, they identify far more, though, nationality Jamaican. Look, historically, they identify far more through nationality Jamaican, African ancestry, class, parish, region, or Afro-American identity. This guy is a loser. Important nuance. There were black nationalists and Pan-African currents in Jamaica early on. For example, Marcus Garvey heavily promoted global. No, he didn't promote global black identity. He promoted global African identity. He said the Africa was for Africans. The word black never came out of his mouth. His steamships line was called Black Star Line, but not because people were dark skinned. It's because there was a white star line, so he just called it black, the opposite of white. But even Garvey still distinguished nationality from race and did not erase Jamaican nationality into black ethnicity. See, so he recognized himself as a Jamaican, not a black man. So your opponent is partially borrowing modern Pan-African language and projecting it backward historically. He's been anachronistic. Okay, so grading the exchange, your position unbiased, Ron, out of 10 family, it says I was 8.5 out of 10. Strong because you correctly separated nationality from ethnicity, challenged whether census labels challenged whether census labels equal ethnicity, recognized that black historically functioned differently, and identified the influence of black American political identity formation. Weakness, you could tighten your terminology more clearly by distinguishing race, ethnicity, nationality, and political identity. Now look what he got. A 4 point out of 4 point. He got a 4.5 out of 10. I tell you, he keep taking L's and he think I'm just making this stuff up. He's correct that black appeared in the censuses and black identity existed internationally, but weak because he conflates racial classification with ethnicity, ignores colonial administrative labeling, and overstates the historical use of black as an ethnic identity in Jamaica. He skipped over Afro-Jamaican, Creole, African descendant, and nationality distinctions. You're the strongest counter you could use. You could say seeing the word black in a census doesn't automatically make it an ethnicity, Tethanu. Colonial governments use racial categories all over the British Empire. Jamaican nationality was Jamaican. Their ethnic subgroups were Afro-Jamaican, Maroon, etc. Black was largely a racial or political descriptor, not a standalone historical ethnonym the way you're trying to frame it, Tethanu. You took another L. So when I say you're Owen forever against me, that's not just me talking. You can run it through AI. That's an L, my guy. You drop a bomb. Come on, blow my air horn. Okay, now let's get it.
So Peacemaker's back. So the way I dialogue, my guy, I dialogue with understanding. I don't go back and forth with the name calling and foolishness.
I never called you no name.
I didn't say you did. I said what I don't do, because I know you're into TikTok spaces that do that. You're on a
Okay. Is that the one I wanted? Hold on, family. Here we go. It's this one.
Because when they hear black, then they connect that to all people who are darker skin.
Right. And that's another mistake, that he's not listening.
Okay, so that was the same one. 148.21. Okay, cool.
Platform where you're going to be held to the higher standard of research. Now, your ethnicity is Igbo, right?
Yes.
What is Black Americans' ethnicity?
Your ethnicity is Black Americans. I don't know. I don't know.
Stop. You don't know, so won't you know now so you can sort of, my God, you don't know, so now you're going to know. It's not Black American.
Okay, what is it?
It's a name we chose. It could have been white. It could have been red. It could have been yellow. It could have been a cat. It could have been Burger King. These are just words to identify yourself. We chose black. It had nothing to do with the phenotype. Had nothing to do with the skin complexion, because most of us are not dark like you guys over there. All right. If I turn my camera on, I'm light skinned. So black doesn't mean a phenotype. Prince is damn near Chinese in complexion. So black does not represent a phenotype. You're mixing up our ethnicity.
You see, you talk too long. You have to let me into the conversation. I noticed that you American men.
He had to go. He had to go. He had to go. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to know. Oh my God. He doesn't want to know. I just asked the guy, "What's our ethnicity?" He doesn't know, and he didn't want to know. All right, you got to go. That's the second chance. What's that? DR Love, did you mean to hop on?
Hey, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, how'd you want to? Yes, sir. What's on? How'd you want to contribute to the conversation?
Oh, wait, what's the topic? I don't want to.
All right, no problem. So, well, the topic, before I get to the topic, how you pronounce your name is Dr. Love, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and what country are you from?
Uganda.
Okay, so hello to you. Now, the topic kind of shifts. So I'll give you the first topic. The first topic is, the prompt is, who sold us? So black Americans, like, who sold us? Was it the Africans or the white T-man?
It was a business transaction between Africans and white T people. So white T people were in the market.
Right, but who sold us?
Africans had what the white T people were looking for.
Right.
So Africans.
Okay. Now, you know why? Because most people do not know that. Like, it seems simple to you, like a easy answer, but most people would get that mixed up, believe it or not. They don't think there was a transaction at all. Like, most people, when I say most people, I'm talking about from the continent. Right. Africa. They think the white T-man just got ships, came to the shores of Africa and just snatched up 15 million of us and then brought us across the diaspora. Like, that's what they think happened. That's why the topic's there.
Yeah. Okay. These are two partners in crime. So when you look at it.
Right. Okay. So now, good. We're past that. Great, easy answer. So look, Helen, if he got it, trust me, they all get it. Because this isn't rocket science. This is common sense. Just get a book, just Google it. It's right there. Now, the more harder. Go ahead.
If I was there, I would have been sold too, because they didn't care who they were selling.
What? Okay, so the white T-man did have a preference, though. The white T-man, the way it works, you ever heard of something called brain gain?
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard.
Okay, so the white T-man doesn't take anybody. Just like right now, to come to this country, he wants your best. You don't have to take anybody. It's called brain gain, right? So they always want your best. So it depends. Maybe they wouldn't have sold you, because the white T-man, he's gonna have you do jumping jacks, open your mouth. He's gonna feel your muscles. He want to know your background. He want to know. He's gonna ask you questions about agriculture. He want to know that you can do what he wants you to do.
Right. Kind of like I know what you're saying.
Okay, cool. And we passed that now. So maybe you would have been sold, maybe you wouldn't have. We don't, depends on how they valued at that moment. But
yeah, you gotta be, you gotta be strong, dude. You gotta, because it was at the end of the day, it was working on the field.
Right, 24/7, hot, scorching sun and cold weather too. So you got to be able to endure diseases that white people couldn't endure. Right. Okay, so they knew what they were going after, and they went and did that. Now, how do you feel about this theory? Well, it's actually a fact. What's the theory to it?
I just feel like that shouldn't have been done. They would have tried to figure out a better way to not sell those Africans, and I don't know what those Africans that were selling these Africans, what they were thinking at the moment, because it just doesn't make sense for somebody to just sell people to the random white T people, and you don't know what they're gonna do with them or how they're gonna treat them. You know what I mean? So for me, it just comes out as selfish to those Africans that actually did that.
Now look what happened as a result. Now those 15 million people that they sold, they could have put use for them. Like, they could have had them build up Africa, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me. let me tell you one thing about Africa. Africa is a mindset. You know, sometimes we try to pay much focus on like the people rather than the mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
It still would have been the same mindset, really. You know what I mean? It's just that you guys ended up picking up the European mindset because you have lived with European for a very long time. That's the only difference. But it wouldn't make any difference.
All right. So what? Okay. What about this? So now the history showed that they sold us, right, and they sold people to the Brazil and the Caribbean. As a result, about 300 years, my ancestors were used as free labor, right? They did labor almost 300 years. Now they build up the white tea societies where they became superpowers, right?
Right.
Right. And then the white tea people with their superpower, they came back to Africa, which is known as the Berlin Conference, right?
Right.
And then with that superpower, because of our free labor, we built their economies. They had money. They were able to. Right. So now they go back to Africa. They're different than when they're different people than who they were 300 years prior, right? They're more powerful, where it's no more negotiating in the terms of equality.
So they made you. So it's like they benefited from you guys' labor, right? Is what you're saying?
Right. And they became superpower countries, right? High in technology, high in science. And now they're coming back to Africa, flexing their muscle. Like, look what the people who you had no value in, look what how they valued us, right? So now I say this. I say so Africa, especially West Africa, shouldn't be complaining about the white tea man, because there wouldn't be no powerful white tea man had you not sold them 15 million people. So it's like the chickens came home to roost. Like, this is your Frankenstein that's coming to kick your ass.
I wouldn't look at it like that, because you gotta understand that you gotta understand that, you know, black people in America, they're not violent people.
Right.
And white tea people are violent people. So now when they go to Africa, they go with violent. So that doesn't represent the black people in the Americas.
No. I'm not talking about representing. No, I'm not saying us. No, you missed that. I'm not saying. Look, I didn't mention black Americans at all. And after I said black Americans, we were used as a labor force to build up America to become a superpower. Okay, so now
when you say they come back and flexing, is they're flexing with violence, though. That's right. That's my point.
This ain't black Americans. Black Americans are still being Jim Crowed and convict leased. Like, we're in a form of slavery still, a form of servitude, right? We barely got rights. I know. Okay, so hold on. So I'm saying the people who went to Africa to flex their muscles, these are white tea people, not even America, because America didn't Berlin Conference them. We're talking about the other white tea people who had forced labor, the French and Spain. They went over there, the Belgians, they went over there flexing their muscles, saying, hey, we're about to carve this place up, and we're going to dominate for eternity. So I'm saying this, had Africans never sold their enemies their most valuable resource, their enemies would have never had superpower countries to come back and kick their ass. So it's essentially their own fault.
Yeah, but and again, remember earlier I said about the mindset, right? So having a superpower is a mindset. It's not about it's about, see the number one thing, that mindset of selling another black person, that's where the mindset
you can't say
starts.
another black person. You mean selling a person? Because remember,
African. Selling an African. So that's
not even
that's the type of mindset I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mindset
you can't even say that. You can't say that because they said that they were not selling their own. This is their statements. They said we didn't sell our own. We sold other people.
Yeah, so, because but that's not right. That's not true that it was other people. It was their own. They try to make it sound so they don't take the blame.
No, they were Queen Nzinga. Queen Nzinga, you familiar with her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she didn't sell her own. She sold people who were not part of her tribe. No, they did not sell their own. They took people from other places and sold them. They didn't see them as themselves. So whatever their tribe was.
Exactly.
Right. So it wasn't their right. Okay. So they seen them as different.
Exactly. So this is why tribalism comes in. Yes, that's normal. If you don't come from my tribe, I don't really care about you like that. You know what I'm saying? So that is what I'm saying, that it's that mindset.
Why is that normalized? Yeah, but why is that a mindset? That's wild.
Yeah, it's a mindset, and for us to be able to, you know, it's hard to get rid of the mindset. I don't think it's, you know, somebody can get rid of, because it has turned into a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So it's just deeper than getting rid of that. You know, it can, for example, right, like Ibrahim Toure right now, what he's doing right now. Trust me, there is some tribe in Burkina Faso that don't like him simply because he doesn't come from their tribe. See the mindset I'm talking about?
Yeah, and plus, like he did just do a coup d'etat. He did just kick in the door, waving the 4-4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you find out about that coup d'etat, of course, the guy wasn't really doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he had all the right to like take over and do the right thing. But then again, if you find out, it's either he didn't like, it's either because the tribal thing is the reason why he ended up doing that. You understand? Maybe the head of the military was from the same tribe as him. So as they were planning all these things without this president knowing, so it's like you don't even come from our tribe. So it's the tribe-state mentality that we have in Africa is the reason why it's, you know, not making us to be able to get where we want to be. But with the YT people, the reason why it's like they unite, they get together to build. It doesn't matter their differences, but we don't do that.
Okay, so like we're like hundreds and years later. Like when are they going to say, you know what, we got to get on one accord? Because if we don't, they'll continue to fractionalize us and take advantage of our differences. Like when do that aha moment sets in Africa?
When would you please repeat that again? Sorry, I was doing something.
So that the aha moment, when you say, "Oh, I got it," as long as we're tribal and divisive and xenophobic, they're going to continue to run over us. If we drop that xenophobia, divisiveness, tribalism, and we just look at ourselves like how they kind of look at themselves, we can stop this from happening, this abuse, this predatory practices, and we can finally do something for ourselves. Like, when does that aha moment ever set in?
That moment, it was never going to happen, because you think about it, like there is always one of us who would want to do business with YT people. Like, trust me, like there's always that one guy, that one country. We can like, okay, we all going to be on the same code, and this is what we're going to, do. And there is always going to be 3 or 5 countries that would disagree with that and would definitely want to work with YT people and would want to give every single information to them. For example, right? I can tell you this guy, France has been kicked out in a lot of West African countries, right?
Just 3.
Okay. But now there
just
is that
countries.
this
That's
one.
it. Just 3.
But now if you saw that, last week or 3 days ago, this Macron, he has been brought in by Kenya. You understand? So there's always going to be that one person. Is not going to like agree with.
Yeah, but what's the problem? Okay, look, there's no problem with using the white man to get what you want. Like, for example, you ever heard of how Japan became a superpower in 46 years?
Nah.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say, brother. You hopped on the right platform. I'm a scholar, so I research a lot of history. I don't just focus on what people just focus on. I have expanded my research. So Japan, they didn't like the white man either. They seen him as barbarians. They had names for him, right? But they understood that they were in the technological era. So they used the white man to do business with, and they just learned from them. They got stuff out of them. So as they extracted whatever from Japan and got what they want from the Japanese people, they made sure that the white man was teaching them how to build their own guns. So they're not just perpetually keep buying from Africa. And they did that. And also with the car manufacturing, they went to America and everywhere else, and they took pictures of the factories and the machinery, and they went back and replicated that. They went back and now you got,
but that's like I said, remember, It's about the mindset. The Chinese mindset and us Africans mindset is totally different, bro.
Right.
We have
so look, what I'm saying is that you can learn. So what happens? You can learn because Japanese had the same thing. They were tribal. They was really tribal. But their government, what they did was they decided to delete the shogun people, the samurai class. They said, you know what? These people are outaged. They outdated. They outdated thinking, and they actually just deleted them. They wiped them out.
Right. I feel like the only way we can get rid of that is we gotta get rid of our chiefs. These chiefs in these, you know, in our villages, they are also a major problem, contributing on dividing tribes. That's what they're there for. So if we can get rid of that, and I don't think that will ever happen, to get rid of our chiefs, because, you know, a lot of people are going to stand against that, right? So more especially like the old school people, they're definitely going to stand against that.
Right.
You know, the new generation,
like the shogun did in Japan, but they deleted them. Right.
But then again, so it's gonna take a lot, man. You know, like we see Africans, it's you gotta be. It's kind of. I'm African myself, but sometimes I have a hard time understanding us. You know what I mean? That's the messed up part. Is like,
why not
the way we operate? The way we operate, it's hard to understand how we operate, bro. Like your mind would blow up. Like, man, what the heck is going on? That's what.
So why not just take a page from Black Americans' playbook?
And we can't do that. We're too prideful. That's the thing again.
So y'all just can't come under one umbrella name. So like for us, Black America, we just say we all black, no matter.
We can't. We cannot do that. Like I told you, if we want to get rid of our chiefs, the chiefs that we have, that would be a big problem. And for us to be able to get into the umbrella of Black Americans, we gotta get rid of these our tribes and all that stuff. And that's almost impossible to do that.
So why not? Okay, how about this? So when Africa links up with the white man, why not whisper in their ear like, "Hey, help us get rid of our chiefs"?
Do you think that they have never tried?
I'm talking about with the white man help.
Yeah, they have tried it and they can't. They're not gonna succeed. They have tried it.
Wow. Well, so based on all that, now you see the issues with Black Americans, why it's hard for us to like come together with Africa because of those issues, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can see that because, you know, it's making it worse because you guys don't have a specific tribe that you come from. So it's still, you guys will still be look like you're not part of, you know, the continental Africans, because we identify ourselves. If you tell me, hey, look, I'm African, I have to go out of my way, more especially if we come from the same country. If I tell you, hey, look, I'm Ugandan, then you're going to go deeper and ask me which tribe you come from. If you don't tell me the tribe you come from, I'm not going to trust you like that.
Really?
Yeah. So now with you guys, it's even worse because you definitely don't have a tribe. So I'll definitely see you as a random, completely person.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have a tribe, but we have a commonality.
Exactly. That's the difference with you guys and the continental Africans. You guys are good in doing that. You guys are good in, you know, looking at each other as we are black. You guys are very good at doing that. But we Africans, we're not good at that at all.
And our commonality runs deep. It's in our sayings, it's in our food, it's in our actions. It's deeper than just skin color.
Yeah, it does. Big time. And I wish if we Africans also can like go best of that as well. But here's the thing though, don't get us wrong, but we get along in umbrella of being Africans. Okay. So if I were to go, so if you and I were to go to, let's say to go to any country in Africa, right? So for you would say, look, I'm Black American. All right. But for me, the moment I say I'm African, they'll see me they'll see me closer to them than they are with you, to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and you know, that's like normal, you know, we're like, you know, we are all Africans. That's, you know, but we into that umbrella of we are all Africans. But now when it comes down to, we use that when we travel into different African countries, we say, hey, I'm African, but most people wouldn't really. Some people would try to ask you exactly which country you come from, but some they won't bother. But and that's the thing with us. So if I'm in my country, I tell you I'm Ugandan. You as in Uganda, you're gonna have to ask me which tribe you come from. So if I tell you my tribe, if I tell you my tribe, you're like, oh, okay, like you feel comfortable now to be even around me or talk to me. But if I don't tell you my tribe, then people feel like there's nothing we can talk about. You know what I mean? Like they feel like they don't know you like that. You know what I'm saying? So they will try to be as very secretive, as very private as they can be, because they think that you don't have a tribe for them to identify you for, you know what I mean? So they don't know you.
I think you are more connected outside of the continent. I think the Africans who are in America, I don't know about Britain, but the ones that are here, you are more connected as a people with your tribes.
Right.
You guys connect and unite more in America than you do on your own continent.
Exactly. I wouldn't, but see, even like I said, we do connect in the umbrella of Africans, like outside, even like, so we use it when we go outside.
Okay? Right. But you still bicker within each other. Cause I'm in the community and you still bicker with each other.
We do.
You still don't agree. You still
a lot
get
of time
into all these arguments. You still don't really unite.
Yeah, we don't unite. In fact, we don't barely just. I wouldn't go to my fellow African. I mean, well, here I would do it, but when I'm, back home, we were raised to not just go to a random's house, person, right? Like a different tribe. I can go to someone who's come from my tribe and we can sit down and eat, right? And enjoy. But I'm not going to go randomly to a different tribe and just go and eat or drink water or I'm not going to do that because they don't come from my tribe. So I don't know what they think of my tribe. Maybe they hate my tribe, right? So I'm going to be a little bit more spectacle on, even like eating their food, right? So that's how bad it is because, at the end of the day, we're all Africans, but sometimes we don't really, trust each other like that.
I have a question. Why do you think America was made to the free land? Africa has gold, it has resources, it has many, many different things already in Africa. Why would they bring people from a land that has all the things?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do that? Everything was there. The people were already there. The resources were there. The gold was there. The rubber was there. It's the land with all of the things. Then why would they leave that land and come to America to build it up, they say?
Yeah.
Why would they do that to come to America?
Are you talking about the enslaved Africans or the Africans that come to America?
I'm talking about they came here and found a new world. They claimed it to be a new world.
Yeah.
Why would they build up this new world instead of building up Africa, since Africa has all of the things? It has all of the resources. The people were there. Everything was already there. Why didn't they just build up Africa instead of coming to America to build up America?
Because they were envying Africa and they wanted to actually use some of the Africa resources to be able to build the Americas that they have today. So it's basically they wanted the Africans to build the Americas for them because they can't build. They're not strong people. They don't think on themselves. They gotta rely on Africans in order for them to be able to build.
Can I try and help answer that question?
Yes.
So the issue is it was easier, in part because of disease, to conquer Native Americans, and Africa is not like America. It is huge. They were not able to do to Native Africans what they were able to do to Native Americans. Native Americans are almost like not even a part of the conversation anymore. That didn't happen in Africa. Every place they tried to colonize and settle in, for the most part, they eventually were kicked out because there were more people and the resistance was greater. It was easier to take a few of the people out and isolate them in the United States and oppress them in isolation from the rest of their tribes. But they could not have done that on the continent because they couldn't wipe out the population or oppress the population in its native situation in the same way that they did to Native Americans.
Doctor, are you from Zimbabwe or South Africa?
I'm from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Could I interject?
Yeah, go ahead, Curtis. Go ahead, Curtis.
The young lady asked a question. I'm from the Ivory Coast, which is called Côte d'Ivoire. It's a French-speaking African country. The young lady asked a question regarding why Africans come to America. Okay, when I was a child, whenever my father turned on the radio in Ivory Coast, there is Voice of America, Roger Foley, Voice of America. And the first thing you come on in the 70s, James Brown, Wilson Pickett. America flooded our radio station. America, I mean, it was like, even when you reach, I got some friends that the family was very rich, but they were sending the kids to America just for vacation. And whenever they come back, they say, oh, yeah.
I think she was talking about slavery. Asking why did they bring African people to America for slavery?
I was talking about pre-slavery. Why did they choose? Why did the Europeans choose America to be the land that they built up? And you said because there was less resistance in America than there was.
He's talking about the 70s, but I think your question was
they were
about...
so everybody's a little confused. So you meant post-slavery. So she was speaking about recent immigrants coming to America today. Why are they preferring America over
is that the question
today?
you're asking?
Yeah. So now, but before you answer that,
I thought that's what she was asking for. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, she's talking about today. So Curtis, or she could re-clarify, but I think that's what she was saying. But Curtis, you said that America was flooding your media with American things, James Brown. How was that possible?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. So which country are you from again?
Ivory Coast.
Right. So how is America playing? Like, how do you have that power to play American things in your country?
Mind you, my country just got independence in 1960 for the French. Now, but America came in and even took over in terms of culture. Because we were dancing. 1975, we were watching Soul Train in Ivory Coast in the TV. Soul Train.
Right. So how did America become like the controllers of your media, the TV and radio?
But maybe some Africans will sugarcoat and say things that are not right. Look, America dominates the world. Period. Even Europe. You understand?
See, it's true, bro. It's true because
hold on, please. Hold on. America dominates the world. So to say that, oh no, why America? America has a print on Earth. Even in France, we went to France. America have influence on the French music, French media.
Yeah,
let them talk about a country that have independence in 1960.
Bro,
we've been looking up to America.
Bro, but the proper term, you need to say that America, they are the biggest thieves in the world. That's the proper term. But when you try to make it look like it's an influence, then you are that's wrong, bro.
Let Helen.
Yes, but two things can be true at once.
Yeah, let Helen read.
Be true.
He's from Uganda.
Yeah, he's calling being a thief an influence. I don't understand that.
I'm talking. Look, I happened to meet somebody from Uganda in America. I never met a Ugandan before in my life. I never. I met a Ugandan in America.
Okay, so then what's
You
your
understand
point?
what I'm saying?
So what's your
My
point?
point is, in Africa, we don't meet. We are different.
Because you
Within
don't
Africa,
travel,
we
bro.
are I'm
You
not
don't
tribal.
travel. Yeah, you don't travel. If you travel,
Listen. I've been in Europe. My father was a French soldier. What are you talking
exactly.
about?
Yeah, that's
What are
what
you
I'm
talking
saying.
about?
You need
I've
to
been
travel the
in
African
Europe
countries.
when I was. Look at him. You okay? Let's go and Google Ivory Coast. You see, we are not tribalistic.
So did you
32% of.
did you grow up in France? Did you grow up in Europe?
I have French nationality. I went to France when I was 21. You
So
understand?
you are Carter. Yeah, you are Carter. That's why you don't know much about Africa, bro.
Look at it. You pretend that you know about Africa. You know of Uganda. You don't know of Ivory Coast. I'm telling you that.
You are Carter, man. You grew up in Europe, bro. Come on.
And we the French-speaking country of Africa, we are different from the English-speaking country. I'm telling you that because we don't have tribe. You guys have tribe. You English country have tribe. We don't have tribe. I'm
Okay,
telling you that.
I
It's
have
a
another
fact.
question. I have another question. Why? What is the problem? Why is it so hard to stabilize African countries and to make them unified and successful enough so that all of the people who are African citizens of all of the countries that they can strive? What is the problem?
Yeah, you cannot do it because you always have that one president or that one guy who's going to work with the YT people. That's hard. You cannot do that. There is always that one who's gonna wanna get some money from back doors. So it's a very it's even risky situation because that's where you know these coups are happening. Okay, so to think of that, it's a very risky situation because there is always we as long as the money is good. Sometimes our African brother would go for the money instead of doing what's the right thing, right? So it's the same thing, notice through slavery. If the money is good,
why can't you vote in somebody? Like, why aren't there laws that if that person is not doing the best for the citizens, then why can't that person be voted out? Like, why aren't there laws to hold accountable your leadership?
But in Africa, the laws don't work for everybody. So laws they are applied on some people and not on some people. Like mostly like the people in the top position, those laws doesn't apply to them. So if you have that kind of law, it's gonna apply for everybody, but not the president. So
well,
most
that's
likely,
what I'm saying. Why not fix that? Like why aren't there laws that?
There's not. You cannot fix that.
Helen, can I tell you something? I was just in Zimbabwe and I needed to renew my passport and there was something going on with my documents and I ended up having to pay a fine for some mistake that was made on my documents at the central police station in the capital city of the country. And the policeman who handled my case helped himself to 50 of my US dollars as his own self-imposed bribe in order for him to do the job that I was there for him to do, in addition to the fine that I paid. The reason why I can't speak for all African countries because honestly, every single African country is so different. It's no different than European countries. But for my country, I used to think it was because we didn't have resources, but we currently have a lot of gold mining, diamond mining, titanium, platinum mining going on. The reason why you can't get around anything is everybody, including even the policemen, have a price. You can buy everyone. Capitalism has overridden our morality, has overridden our sense of community, has overridden everything. And mostly because most Africans are trying to be at the level of Americans without having done the infrastructural work of getting there as a country together. They're individually just trying to live the American level without having made the societal work.
So it's basically self-destruction.
It's a mindset. You're gonna have to analyze all. You're gonna have to analyze all the
It's self-inflicted. Definitely, it's self-inflicted.
In order for you to get rid of the mentality, like it's a mentality that's been around for a very long time. For you to go around that mentality, in order for you to be able to change their mentality into something like let's build, let's develop, let's not take these bribes. These things is the reason why nobody would understand you. You're telling me to not take the bribe, and I'm building my house or my apartment. I mean, and the salary that you're giving me is not enough. So all these stuff, they come in and play in place to make it even more harder for Africans to have the mentality of saying
what will
that.
It take? So what will it take? I guess the question is evolving to what would it take to develop such a mentality?
There's not at this point, not this generation, maybe next generation, bro.
I don't know, because I'll give you an example. There's a guy in my country who's rich enough to buy Rolls Royces that he gives out to his cronies as gifts on public forums and posts it on Facebook. That guy would never donate $1 to fix a road.
Yeah, I know that guy. He's
to build a
hospital with
hospital.
Presidents.
He hangs out with multiple presidents all over Africa. He has never given $1 to the country. Now, first of all the money that he has, apparently he gets from tenders that he gets from the government. So it's money that belongs to the government in the first place. How it ends up privately his is beyond me. But once it's privately his, he buys jets, he buys Rolls Royces, he buys cars for people to drive on broken roads. I wish I could tell you how you fix that. I don't know.
And that's not only him, all across the board. Like a lot of government officials, they buy these Lamborghinis and they are driving in those, dusty roads. You ask yourself, bro. And what they do is they'll probably have like a showroom floor in their house where they just park him to look at them. And they, it's like, so these things right here, and you're having kids that are going barefooted in school, and this guy is driving a $1.2 billion car on the dusty road. You're like, bro, there's a kid walking barefooted there, going to school, and you over here driving this car, and the money that you actually bought this car, it's the money was supposed to be allocated to be able to help this kid to be successful in school.
Well,
So this might sound crazy.
Not looking at that one person's wealth, right? He got his wealth, however he got his wealth. Just like we have people in America who got their wealth, however they got their wealth. But the thing is like it's an entire infrastructure problem. It's how come there is not a system set up in not one country? Like there's 54 countries. Why isn't there a system set up that's strong enough to support the people, to provide businesses for the people, to provide some type of employment and a stable life
Ellen,
for the country?
The question is not the system. The question is who's going to actually come up with that system, who's going to create that system. Okay?
No, that's not the question, Dr. Love. That's not the question, Dr. Love. The issue is, if you were to create a system, the people that are making the money off of the brokenness of the system. So, but they're also in charge of being the people that would put the system in place. It's against their interest to fix the system. Their systems, they're just broken, and people profit from their brokenness. It's never going to happen.
Let me say this. So why not just try this, right? Just see what it says. Why not go to AI, explain just that, and ask AI, what do you think AI could come up with? Like, what type of solution AI can come up with to try to fix that, remedy that?
Even if AI was real, even if AI was to go to Africa today now, nothing would have changed, bro.
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like you are dealing with people who are inhumane. You're dealing with people who are who lack basic love and respect and decency for another human being. Because if you have love and respect for another, like, how do you watch a baby that's starving to death and you totally ignore it? I understand that you might want your Rolls Royce, but then, like, there's also nonprofits, right? So you have people who, they have their wealthy lifestyle, but at the same time, they're giving $5 million for the cause, to help the poor people, to provide some type of stability for those people. And it sounds like you lack that.
He doesn't. So that rich guy that I told you, he doesn't have a non-profit that helps normal people. He buys expensive cars and gives them to individuals because that buys loyalty and reverence direct to him from those individuals. He's absolutely not interested in the common man. And he lives in a city where some people cannot find $1 to buy a meal.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. That's inhumane.
You're absolutely right. I'm agreeing with you. But he's not doing anything different from Elon Musk.
The guy buys private jets for all the head of states in Africa. Like if there's any big deal that they have, they go through the guy. So that goes to tell you that, and this thing is, once you go against the system or you become a whistleblower, you will be you will be kidnapped. And you'll be lost. You'll be a lost person. That's how bad it is. That's why sometimes there's some things that, even like sometimes when you speak on corruption, you are risky. You are putting your life on risk. Now, if you actually work part of the system, you know how this corruption works and who gets the money and where the money goes. Then you have to be even more fearful, because if they find out that you are talking about what's going on into the system, you definitely, gonna be unalive. So that's how, bad it is. And that's why you see that any move that you're trying to do to help Africa develop, you become an enemy automatically. That's why you find a lot of people, they would rather leave before they get unalive, because you will be unalive and you're not gonna be able to develop or say anything anymore, including your whole family.
And so another problem is, so that mentality of being inhumane, some of those, I'm not saying all, but sometimes that mentality goes into other countries, and within other countries, they also start to act that same way, right?
Helen, if I was to go to Africa, right, and then with the mentality you have now, I'll tell you what, 5 years from now, you probably wouldn't have the same mentality. Okay,
they would have torn you down to a point where you lose empathy, because it's that bad. I'm Zimbabwean, and I got ripped off in Zimbabwe. It's my country, and I got ripped off by a policeman in my own country, and I was powerless, couldn't do anything, because if I wanted that passport, I had to let that man take the $50, and I did.
Yeah,
I get it, because I was married to a Nigerian, and he constantly thought I was against him. Like we couldn't get anywhere because he constantly thought I was stealing from him. He constantly thought I was taking from him, and that was not the case. And I was like, "You're traumatized. Why are you so traumatized?" And he told me that, like, he would go to sleep and his sister would steal his money, or his brother would. And so it's so bad and inhumane, and that makes it difficult.
I'll tell you something. I won't defend that man. He had no right to do what he did to you. But I will tell you an example of something that happens, which is parallels that. So there are people that are in the diaspora in America, in the US and whatnot. They send money home every month to help their family with their bills. And then they will send money and say, can you help me buy a house? I'll send you the money to buy the land and the materials and pay the builders. And somebody might spend 10, 15 years doing that. At the end of the 15 years, they get on a plane, they go home, and there's nothing.
I know this, and this is the thing. It's so many people have done that, but they still continue to send money there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why would you
it's not
do
like
that?
It's not like I was just sending money for you to build this house. I was, in addition for money to build this house, I was sending money for you to eat and live too. So you took that, and you took what I was trying to do so that I would have somewhere to come back to.
Right.
And sometimes they're sending pictures and videos of other people's houses.
Other
and then when you
people's
get
house,
there and you're like, take me to my house, it ain't there.
But so many, this has happened to so many Africans.
That's
Yet,
wild.
why do you
And
still
then-
continue to trust those people?
And then the risky part
It's not trust. It's not trust. It's obligation and trauma and programming. It's where you can trust them, but you can't do anything.
So the risky part about it is once you
So they
land,
gotta
they'll
play the
tell you
game?
that they'll tell you that book a hotel, and then I'm going to show you your house tomorrow. Once you book a hotel, they know the address to that hotel. They are going to send kidnappers and unalive you, and you won't see that because the house is not there.
And that's family. That's family. That's uncles, sisters, or brothers, or parents.
Wow.
That's not strangers.
I know this because I'm in the community, and I know this to be a fact. But the thing that gets me is, why do they continue to still send so much money back, knowing that it's just a waste of time? If you want to just send money, but don't send money expecting them to be building anything for you, because you already know that's not the case.
Yeah, it's kind of like a miss or hit situation. You know, sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. It's one of those situations when you do that, you know,
sometimes
anything can go down the hills.
Sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 tries for you, because they're not always just going to tell you, oh, I spent your money. They'll cook up a story. And because you love them, you want to believe them. I know people that have done it 3, 4 times before they decided, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But I also know people, they're your family, Helen. Without them, you have no one. And we are people that are deeply rooted in community, in nature. What do you do?
Here's the sad part. They can do that to you, right? And then go to a witch doctor and witch you. By the time you land, you run crazy. Start picking up bottles.
Oh, I've heard that as part of the explanation.
Wow.
It's like you guys believe so much in that they can witch you, but why can't they witch these people to fix their country? Like,
that's what I said.
Witch them to get rid of the leadership.
Ma'am, they do it. Ma'am, they do it. I don't know if anybody here from Zambia. Have you noticed how much the Zambian head of states die? A lot of them, they don't even finish up their terms.
Yeah, but then why can't they improve the society and improve?
They can. Even the heads of states, they get witched now. Them as well. They're not like.
I've been asking that because I don't believe in witchcraft, and I've been asking that about the Zimbabwean head of state. Like, if there's witchcraft, why are you torturing me, the random person on the street? Why aren't you using your witchcraft? And they say, well, his witchcraft is stronger. And I'm like, why aren't all the witches getting together and bewitching him?
And fix the country and make it stable.
It's the head of states in Zambia, ma'am. There's no one who has ever finished their term. I mean, it was this guy.
Really?
They always been unalive with witchcraft. And the recent one just passed away. Soon he's the lucky one who ended up finishing his whole term. But soon as he was done, he's gone.
And so then that brings us to people coming to America and how we can unite, right? So in order for Africa or anybody coming here to unite with Black Americans, like, you have to make an effort to understand us, to understand our history, to understand all the things that we have encountered.
But what if they don't want to unite?
And even if we don't want to, unite.
No, not us. I'm saying, what if their purpose to come to America is just to be successful and not unite with us? I mean, what if that's not part of their plan?
Well, that is their plan. I'm in the community. They are here to get money.
I've never united. No. But you say unite. That means become part of our community, fight the same struggle. What if that's not their goal? They just want to just be successful and do better than in Africa.
I know that's not their goal. So then what do we do as a people? Their goal is not to unite with Black Americans. Their goal is simply to work.
Remember, bro, FBA. Remember, I just told you that we are very
different.
We are very tribal people. So even sometimes to unite with our own people, we find it hard, bro.
But I think different Africans come into America with different goals. So I can't speak for and say Africans are coming into America. Yeah.
So when I was asking Helen the question, I was saying, what if they, not saying they don't, I was saying, what if that's not their plan to unite with our struggle? They just want to live their best life and, be left alone.
And that may be, but the two things I would have to say about that are, first of all, it depends on the trauma that drove them into this country and away from their home country. And the other thing that I'd never considered was immigration in and of itself. The event of leaving your country and moving to a whole different country is a traumatic process. I didn't realize that. So the problem is you're taking a person who, regardless of how much better their situation may seem when they get here, who's actively experiencing a traumatic event when they get here. And I think that may affect their ability to integrate. And then you also have to consider, because if you look at the person who's trying to build a home, a house back at home so they can move, do they have ongoing trauma about still trying to get back, still trying to restore the old normal, and how is that going for them? So that's a person who an immigrant is a person in general. For me, the way I look at it, is in a level of survival mode that makes bonding, integration, relaxation, woosahing and breathing and letting even your surroundings sink in, smell the coffee, stop and smell the roses, that kind of thing. May not always be possible. So it may make the rational, natural thing to do, which is to join into the community, harder. I haven't found it difficult. But then there is, in addition, when I got here, Dr. Love immediately said, "Are you from Zimbabwe and are you from South Africa?" In my head, I always sound American, but nobody else. So there's that idea of being constantly reminded, and not for what do they call it? Not for nefarious purposes, but for natural observation, that you don't belong. And you're carrying that on a day-to-day basis. It makes it hard to find your place in the world and then sink roots enough to bond. I don't know.
And also on top of that, you got to think about this. This person has left everything that they grew up on, their childhood, their friends, sometimes family, right? So it's like they left all these things behind, right? And they come to America. It's like, man, let me just be strong enough. I don't want to build another bond, with people. Like, it's like I don't know where life can take me after. It's like people have this trauma going on in their head. It's like they like my sister said they're they in survival mode, constantly in survival mode. So, and they also, on top of that, they also have a lot of things to worry about. So when they come, in their mind, uniting is not the first thing that they are thinking.
Right. No, look,
they are thinking of how they can.
So now, do you see? Look, I agree with you, but now you see our confusion because, you immigrating over it was not possible before our civil rights movement. You understand that or no?
I understand that, but I didn't come. So yeah, I keep on hearing that. I don't know much about it, but I do understand that.
Right. Okay. So let me just ask. Doc CB, is that something you know or you're not familiar with?
Yes, it is. Yes, okay. It is.
All right, so I want to let him know. So, Dr. Love. So I study the history of immigration in America. That's what I do, right? So when I have these spaces like this, these are scholarly spaces. Notice none of us are arguing, calling names, because that's not the spaces that I provide. I try to provide a space out of that, a safe haven out of that, where we can have genuine conversations. So before 1964, even white people from Europe, Southern and Eastern Europe, couldn't come over here. They had immigration laws to restrict Europeans from Europe. 1917 and 1924. They didn't even want their own people over here. They seen the Eastern and Southern Europeans as inferior, as like the spectrum people, the tainted, ain't truly Anglo. So keep in mind, if they reluctantly took on their own, and by the way, they were also blocked until 1965. So a lot of those Italians, Jewish people, they could thank us too. A lot of those Slavians and Russians, they thank us too. They were blocked. They had quotas for them. Matter of fact, a lot of the issues with the small hats when the Holocaust was happening, they couldn't come over here because of our restrictive quotas. We were blocking them, keeping them in Germany to be, thrown in the oven, right? So that's part of the history in America. But so to have somebody of African descent come over here wasn't even fathomable. Like, you were the last from their mind. They were debating on Chinese people, the Wong case, 1882, Chinese exclusion. They, at that point, they called Mexicans white. They classified Mexicans as white tea, and they were allowed over here. But anybody from Africa and the Caribbean, you were not even a fathom of their pigmentation. Okay, so around 64, when we were fighting for civil rights for ourselves, we extended that and say, hey, you got all these Europeans coming over here now. You got to extend that olive branch to Africa and the Caribbean, get some African ancestry people over as well. Now, we thought, because we don't know what's going on over there, we thought you guys would come over here, appreciate that olive branch, and then join our communities in our fights and struggles and things like that. So when y'all came over here, not all of you, well, basically all of you. So when y'all came over here, we were confused because we thought y'all would be joining this march or this protest or that equal justice or else, and you weren't. So we like, wait a minute, what the hell just happened here? But that's how that happened. So without the 64 civil rights movement, there would be no such things as 1965 Hart and Seller Act that dropped, that it eradicated the quota, the immigration quotas, to allow all Europeans and even you guys were not going to be over here without that fight. So a lot of Africans don't know that.
I also think we didn't think it all the way through. Like, we didn't think about how different we would all be. We didn't think about, because we were always taught that we came from Africa. So we thought that we would have so much common, like we would be more alike than we were different. We had no idea that it was going to be so different.
So, I appreciate where you guys are coming from. And I appreciate FBA News, because I almost scroll past, because when I see FBA, it's usually a bash. And I appreciate where you guys were coming from, where African Americans were coming from as they were fighting for the ability of Africans to come here. And I think it's a little bit, and I'm not, what I'm saying is not my views, is just, it's an over my head analysis, what I see as like from a distance. There's the part of the African Americans feeling that the Africans owe them for the fact that Africans can now immigrate to the United States. But then there's the perspective of the Africans who may sometimes migrate to these Western nations with the perspective that the white tea people, all them, for the fact that, first of all, they took our brothers and sisters, and second of all, they pillaged our countries. So there's a mismatch there on who owes who. But my personal opinion is, regardless of the mismatch, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I still consider myself as a guest in the United States, especially if I'm around African Americans. I defer to them. So I think what I would never do is discredit the idea that sometimes there's a little bit of an attitude adjustment that needs to be done by people who are not born in this country and have the privilege of getting to this country. However, I can see the mismatch that results in the friction.
Yes, because more than one thing can be true at once. I mean, yes. Don't come over here calling us lazy, that we won't work, and you come over here and you get degrees and you become, all of these things. Like, you don't know, like, I'm not talking about you personally, but the struggle that we have had to deal with on this land and still do. Like, the challenges of just trying to climb up. And the same way that you say there's trauma from being in your country, like, there's trauma. African Americans or Black Americans have trauma too. Mm-hmm. And the trauma is different. It's different, that it's like from the time that you're in school, you enter school at the age of 3 or 4 years old, for 12 years in school, you are basically not respected. You're not taught, and you're told and sold lies. And I mean, it starts very young. Like, I have 2 children, and like when my son was in kindergarten, he's half Nigerian. So when he was in kindergarten, the teacher gave him a 2. And my son started reading when he was 2 years old. And I was like, why does he have a 2? And she said, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even test him.
She just assumed.
She just assumed because he was a black boy that he couldn't read. And I've had to deal with my black son. He's now in the 11th grade, thank God. But I have every single school year, I have to go in and fight on his behalf. Now think about the black men who don't have anybody to fight for them. The teacher told me this year in 11th grade, he said, that kid, there is no way that kid made a 96 on an AP exam. Why? Because, he was a YT teacher looking at my black son, and that was what he said. So you don't know, like, the challenges that we have had to deal with from age 3. So just think about that type of treatment for our black men since they were 3 years old, of just traumatic, of trying to find their place in the world. And black men, our black American men, they have it extra hard because they're constantly trying to find their place in the world, and they're constantly being torn down and told things that don't encourage them while also trying to be successful. So it's a lot that's happened here. And then for the people who came here who look like us, right? Because we're brown, and they're like, oh, you're lazy and you don't this and you don't do that and you just have babies. And we're like, wait a minute now. Wait.
Yeah. It's kind of like me back in, I had to fight my white teacher because apparently, I'm a very tall, big dude. In high school, she's like, oh no, you're too old to be in high school. I'm like, what do you, like, how do you know? Like, what are you talking about? And she tried to fight so that I can, I can go straight to college. I'm like, nah, if I had to fight back, and stayed and you got graduated to high school, then, because I wanted to learn English before I go to college and start being bombarded with a lot of this American English. So, I thought because she was white, she basically just wanted me to like, no, you're too old to be in high school. I'm like, nah, you don't do that. That's not what my ID tells you. Why you try to tell me that I'm I ended up, she tried to put in sending papers and try to make me sign stuff and never sign none of that stuff and say, hey, look, I'm young and I'm here. This is all you got. And graduated and then went to college and university and then got my master's.
Helen, I want to go back to what you said about, people coming in here and then starting to call lazy and starting to make labels and make accusations. And I won't lie and say that I haven't seen it. I know it exists and it's real. And what I will say next is not to excuse it. And it's barely even to explain it, but at least it's to show this parallel I've seen. In the 2025 and 2026 have cracked my skull open to how I see the world. And I've been trying to understand why disenfranchised, poor white people are gung-ho orange men. And I had to understand fear and had to understand hope. Those are the only 2 things that I would think. First of all, they're afraid of their position in life, and they think they somehow conflate defending and supporting and identifying with this person as the thing that will save them. And I think I'm having to assume it's likely a survival strategy or being in survival mode that is driving that. And I would want to venture to wonder if maybe that's what's going on, that you're hoping if you put it in back, and please don't take any offense to anything that I'm saying, because I mean none. But that maybe some of my brothers and sisters from the continent hope if they can at least beat the house in, they might survive. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that's and that's not, it's not right. It's wrong. But I'm wondering if that's what's going on.
But that's not the way.
I think what's really going on, it's also that, we Africans think that, our natural resources has been used by the white people for a very long time.
That's the other thing, which I say, that they feel like they came to get what was taken from them.
Exactly, yeah. So and then now we have, our black people in the Americas. We feel like they're on their way trying to stop us from getting what these white people have been told, taken from us for a very long time. And they're also feeling like we are here to take their opportunities. So it's like we both looking to get something out of somebody. You know what I'm saying? So that clash, that's why everything.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me get in this dance. So you got a master's, right? You say you got a master's?
Yeah, I do have a master's. Yeah.
You got that in your country or America?
I went to school in my country, and America was kind of like a boost up, from what I had to get a master's.
Right. And Doc CB, are you have a doctorate degree or master's?
I have a doctoral.
And did you come in with your doctorate degree, or you got America?
Over here, and then ended up with the doctoral from America. Yes.
Got it. And was education expensive in your homeland? Both of you, was it expensive or fairly feasible?
It was very cheap. The reason why I left for two reasons. The first reason I gave was, if I became a doctor in my country, I would be no different from a prophet. When I got done and was trying to practice, I could tell you what I think you had, but I didn't have the diagnostic stuff to try to prove what it was. And then I could tell you what I would do if you have what I think you have, because I wouldn't have the medications. And at that time, and it's probably still true to this day, it made more economic sense for me to quit my job as a doctor in my country and come and work at McDonald's in America.
Right. And Dr. Love, what about you? Was education fairly cheap or was it expensive?
Yeah, I went to a good school, so it was, you would consider it as expensive.
Was it expensive for you and your household? That's what I mean. Because of course, if you're LeBron James, like, what's expensive? But I'm saying for you and your household, was schooling like an arm and a leg, or was it something feasible you could do?
I got people in politics and my family members are senators, so yeah, it wasn't.
Right, because what the sister said earlier, Helen said earlier, about them coming to America and getting degrees, I wanted to point out to Helen, I wanted her to hear it for themselves. Helen, a lot of them come with degrees already, so they're called. So now I want to respond to Dr. Love. He said the comparison and we think we're taking. No, that's not what's going on. So I'm here to clear the air. For one, both you are what is called hyper selected. You ever heard that term before?
Yes, and I agree with it.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So now Helen might not be, that's not a popular term amongst Americans, but yeah. So they're considered hyper selected. So I talk about this all the time in America, to FBAs and, just FBAs. So hyper selected means that they represent some of the brightest people in their country. Like, they're not the average Joe and Schmo like me and you might be, right? So they're not. So when they come over here, they're highly educated. Some come with money already, right? They're highly educated. They're way more educated than the average American. So it's not
or even than the average African, African.
You make up the 1% of your country. So this ain't a random person in a village coming to America to seek a degree. Like, they probably fell out, they probably won't do well because the IQ is like way lower. The standard IQ is way lower there for obvious reasons, like resources and education is lower. But so I want to point that out. So now
I think Helen has exposure to the Nigerian community, though. That doesn't apply
in the Nigerian.
Okay,
good. I'm sorry, just going. No, you can finish.
I was just saying, in the Nigerian community, it's less about the it might be less about the education often than it is about the money, because Nigeria is a very wealthy country.
All right, so that makes sense, right? So hyperselectivity has a lot to do with you coming with money already, or you coming with some type of education. Because America is a brain game country. We don't take on people worse. When this already happened with the first wave of with the colonies, when British when America's had the 13 colonies, when it was ran by British, they sent their worst over here. They didn't want their worst in UK as it was building up. So they sent it to America. And the Americans at that time was running the colony. They resented that. They hated that. So when they fought for the independence with us, and the help they did with the Revolutionary War, they made sure to be a brain game country from that point on. They no longer wanted the worst of people's society. So we take the best. And so they help make America greater, right? That's what we do. And their countries are called a brain drain. They call it a brain drain because too many leave, the best minds leave for whatever reason. But it's a brain drain for one and a brain gain for the other, unless they return. So if they return to like build their own country back up some years later, that's called brain circulation, where they take the resources and they go back to their homeland. Now,
speaking on that, I have a couple friends.
Hold that thought, because I want to address you. Now, our issue ain't with you. Right? Again, you in these TikTok spaces, you're in the wrong room. Our issue with our country, right? Because our country, what they do is they use you, the brain gain of your countries, and they convolute you into our statistical categories to make it seem like we're doing better than we are. So when you have a degree in one of these schools, Harvard, these prestigious schools, Howard, whatever, it looks like the black race, the black Americans are doing better. But that's because you guys are funneled into our statistical categories. So that's the problem. It's not that you're taking something away from us. You're being added into our statistical groups to show that systemic racism ain't so bad. It's actually doing better. We're coming out of it. They're using you guys, your success to determine that. And that's why we saying, no, that's not true. So we saying this black race stuff is a finesse. This paper genocide is there to erase the harms that's continuously being inflicted on us by throwing hyperselective people into that racial category. So this is why we're delineating. We're saying, no, they don't represent us. They represent themselves. We represent ourselves. And America has not addressed the harm, remedied the harm. We're still being impacted by slavery, right? We're still being impacted, and systemic racism well and alive still. So throwing in a couple successful immigrants into our box, that's a smokescreen.
So FBA, what I would say, that's absolutely true. And the lived example I'll give you of that is there was about 12 of us in my medical school class in America, which was the diversity quarter. 12 of us, brown, black people, BLK people. And I can tell you that about 8 were either first generation, were either immigrants or first generation immigrants. So that's when I first noticed the thing that, because now they can go and say, look, we're filling our diversity quota, when that was actually like a thing you had to do. But you really didn't, because out of these 12 people, only 4 are the people that this was supposed to be for.
Right, but it looks like 12, and look at the wordplay. What you said, they're using black to lullaby us to sleep, because when you say black to us, what black means to us means different to you guys, right?
But they're not just using it. They're not just using it to you. They're using it to the government, because at that time the government had a requirement for them to have a diversity quota.
I know that.
Yeah,
I know that. But what I'm saying is I'm saying is that word black. Mm-hmm. They're hiding what's going on by the word black. See, if they said 8 Nigerians or 8 Ugandans or 8 whatever what was in there and 4 black Americans, we'll see that's not progress. Okay, that's not good enough. But by them saying 12 black people in this class, that lullabies to sleep to believe they're black Americans. That's why I'm saying black to us means something different than you guys. When we say black amongst ourselves, we're not using it as a racial category like you guys do. When we say we're black, we're saying to you guys like Igbo or Fulani, that's what black is to us. It's not a racial category anybody could just hop into and hop back out. It's something that it's a bloodline. They had genealogical records going back to U.S. chattel slavery. But even to extend our ethnicity and brand it as a racial category was part of erasure. To say everybody is one of, because the only black people in America from the 90s all the way back to the 60s was us. So we're the only people that was named themselves black. You guys had identity, so did the Caribbean, so did the Haitians. They were Haitian. So nobody was black until recently. Now, but you guys were forced to be black under the racial category, the same way the indigenous people were forced to be Negroes when they were reclassified by Walter Plecker in his Racial Integrity Act in 1924. So all we're saying is this, that you guys are coming to the country. It's not your fault. We're saying, but we want to listen and learn what's going on. You guys are being used, some of you, as pawns to blur the lines, to muddy the waters, to cause this infight with us and our government. No different than you guys and your chiefs. You see how that works? So you have issues with your chiefs and your government. We have issues with ours. So, but what they do is they invite immigrants into our neighborhoods and they call them one of us. Black is like a mine FGCK. And they use that to cause confusion. Now you have an immigrant saying,
I was about to die.
Okay. So now you have an immigrant saying they are black, right? And we think they're Black American, U.S. chattel slavery, until we see a flag, and we be like, wait, what the hell? I thought you were black. And they be like, I am black. Like, no, you black.
So, host, I have a question for you. I have a question for you. So, Ellen here, she has a half Nigerian, son, right? So when he becomes someone in life, let's say he gets, into these offices, become maybe a senator or something, work for the government. So do you think that would he be considered as black, or he would be considered as Nigerian American because the mom, she's Black American?
He is African American. I have two kids, a son and a daughter. They are African American. They're African American because their dad is African. So they are African American. But I am not African. I'm not African American. And their dad said this. Their dad is like, stop saying you're African. You're not African. Nobody in your family is African. You're Black American. I mean, he was saying that 20 years ago.
The other thing that I think is important when we're talking about these delineations, which was part of what made me want to join the panel, was you see how there is some advantages, but there's some disadvantages to lumping in people in America as BLK Black, when some of them are African American, some of them are African. And I acknowledge and I validate your sensitivity to that, to say, no, there's a difference, and it makes a difference that there's a difference. It's the same thing for the term African. And that is white supremacy doing that to us. You could never just do that to Europeans. And Europe is a much smaller space than Africa is. There's that thing trickles down to calling people Africans. We're not homogenous. We're not even close to united. We're not even like we have divisions that are as sensitive and as deep rooted as the one that I see and acknowledge is between and I think it's fair to respect the delineation between FBA and immigrant Black.
And also, Ron made a very good point in saying that some of the best people that you guys have come here, which would make sense of why you are extremely successful. So you're not dealing with just every IQ that is in your countries, but you're getting the top of the top people. So of course the top of the top people are going to excel and do extremely well, but then that makes it look like Black Americans who are already here are lazy. Because why? All of you who come here excel and do very well. Meanwhile, the ones of us that are here, or some of us, are not excelling and doing very well. But then equally, the schools in America, I'm a teacher, I've taught from pre-K to 12th grade. The school system does not prepare American kids. It doesn't do a good job of preparing American kids to be successful. The ones who want to be successful have to go to greater strengths of being successful as opposed to having an educational background like some of the immigrants.
And this is why
and a lot of time is that we sometimes when we come here we are all like we already have educated already now because America has their system of them wanting to go through their system before they approve your education credentials. So then that's how we go through the the system in America. So it's like we have a little bit of leverage and advantage already, and then now we just gotta be able to. Sometimes you can come in with your degree and it's going to be translated. They will translate it, right? So if they translate it, so you definitely not gonna be on the same level as a Black American who graduated from high school. Now they are going to college, so you're definitely gonna be boosted up into a next a level of class. So that actually, it's actually some of an advantage that we get because
I'll give you an example of myself. I was in.
Where you from?
I'm from Zimbabwe, and I was.
What's your name?
Oh no, this is Doc CB.
Oh, okay. I thought you knew person. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I thought you knew person talking.
Okay, I'll give you an example of myself. I was beginning my second year of medical school in my country when I came back here. When I came to America, because of the differences in systems, I had to start undergraduate college. So here I am in freshman. You're basically pitting me as a almost second year medical student against freshman high school, freshman college graduates who just came out of high school. But the back and forth of that is, but you also just made me go back 4 years behind before I have to climb back to get back in. It's a give and take, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
They do that because they understand that some of your education is not quite equal to ours, especially like dealing with like medicine and things like that. Like they definitely science. They don't think education is as strict as ours. Yeah, I'm aware of that because I knew I teach chess. I play chess, and I was talking to a Russian guy who was telling me how that works in his country. He said in Russia, all they do is compete on the brightest because the brightest get to have a career. He said, if you're not the brightest, you're going to be a street sweeper. Like there's no middle, suburbs. There's no middle income. You're either poor as crap. And he said, once you're poor, you're always poor. He said, Russia, everybody competes for education to be the top of the top of the top. But the reason why I brought up how much it costs, Helen, because not only the other obstacles we got, but what they don't know unless they make a conservative effort to learn some of our history, which I can easily explain, but not right now. Not only will we restrict the wealth, I don't know if y'all know that, but we had very successful business districts in America, and every time they'll take it. They'll run a highway through it. They'll burn it down. Eminent domain, the government take it and build Central Park, or they'll chase us out of it with terrorism. So they always stripped our wealth over.
You're the Black Wall Street.
Yeah, and then we'll do it again. So we had things before Black Wall Street. We had the Black Reconstruction in 1865, like right after 1880s, like almost right after enslavement. But what about the freedmen banks from 1865 to 1872, where we amassed just in like 7-8 years, we amassed was equivalent today at $70 million at that time in just 7 years, and then that was taken from us. It was funneled into bad investments. It was a complete sabotage by white people. And then what they did was they had us work the land, clear the land, and then they gave all that land to white people that just immigrated over here yesterday, which is called the Homestead Act of 1862. So they kept using our labor to amass their own wealth, and we get our own wealth to take it from us and make us start from scratch over and over and over. Then they had exclusionary laws like the zoning laws, 1917. They restricted covenants, 1920 something. And then the HOLC, 1933, FHA, 1934, New Deal, 1944. Then everybody got welfare but us. So they always excluded us, still do now. And then you have Redline that came after the HOC. Now you got school to prison pipeline, you got mass incarceration. They use the Jamaicans to flood our neighborhoods with the epidemic, the heavy drug epidemic. So they kept finding ways to sabotage and dwarf our progression. And then with all of that, now all of a sudden, okay, 1968 FHA, Federal Housing Act. Okay, everybody's equal now, right? Now we got no wealth to go on. They took all of our wealth, so you're free now. You're free. You have civil rights now. Go. All right. And we start with nothing. And now look, you want to go to college? That's why I asked you guys from the Helen, your college is affordable to you guys, not to us. So they stripped our wealth and then made college unaffordable. So now that we have civil rights, so quote unquote, okay, let's go to college. Look how much it costs there. So you can't go to college. So therefore, and they made sure we had no home wealth. Yes. Okay, wait. So home ownership in America is how you generate wealth. Is how you generate generational wealth. They destroyed that from us, killed our districts, and made us permanent renters. So this type of stuff people don't know until they talk to somebody like me. But I want to just point out, like, all of that has happened. And even with that, we still looked out for other people as dark skinned and say, hey, that ain't right. You got to allow some people from these other countries to immigrate over here to have a better life, because you guys have colonized their societies. Don't just make America, the heaven for all white people globally and just Black Americans. Like, show some love to people from the continent and the Caribbean. So now, yes, with that mentality, we expect you do owe a favor. When somebody gives you an extension to get out of your rut, the situation you're in, to come to America, and we are solely for that reason, yeah, you do owe us. At the very least, a thank you. But yeah, you do owe us. And then when we seen that, they come with the attitude, they think the white man did it. And the white man always HATED, you guys. They do it now. Like you guys said, they're in your affairs, bribing people. So how are they your ally? They're bribing your leaders to stay in conflicts. They're bribing and inflaming tribal wars. Somebody just, okay, stop. Go in and go sit down. Somebody called them the devil and said they're the thieves. So why are you aligning with thieves over us? That's our psyche. It's like, yo, why they come over here, disrespect what we did for them, say we didn't do it, the whitey man did it, knowing, but that same whitey man is over there sabotaging their land, undermining it, and inflaming these tribal wars, these tribalism things. We like, wow, like that's a slap in the face. So we like, you know what? Cool. Going forward, not only we're going to delineate, we're going to stay to ourselves. So any white tea terrorism that happens to immigrants or anything Trump is doing, we're going to just mind our business, because we were told that they are the ones who wanted them over here. So guess what? Now they are the ones who want you out of here. We're going to stay out of it. Y'all work that out. That's some of our attitude today.
What does even this new administration, the Orange administration, right, with the whole "Make America Great Again"? It's still systematic against us. It's still, even today in 2026, they are still plotting of how to make things challenging and difficult for us, like for the Black
so
Americans.
Let me just give you the word. So it's not systematic. You mean systemic?
Systemic, yes.
Yeah.
Still today in 2026, that's still happening. So when we initially, we were like so excited for have some more people come over here to look like us, right? Because why? They're going to join us. It's going to increase our numbers. We're all going to be together. They're going to be supportive. And then to have those people come here and attack us, to say, to talk about us being in the situation that we're in, to talk about all of the things that we've been through, all of the things that my brother just described, all of that we get up and then they tear us down. We get up and then they tear us down. Like, we're tired. we don't have any more energy. And then they're like, oh, you're lazy. Do you know how long we've been fighting the fight? Have you seen all of the marches in the street? Like, we're tired of marching, bro. We have no more marching energy. And then Kopernik, he decided to bow on one knee. He bowed on one knee, and then he was attacked for doing that. He even lost his job in NFL. So we have been fighting for so long. And then for people who look like us, who came over here, who we fought to get over here, to now talk about us and say we're lazy and to say all of these things, it's just like, oh my gosh, why is everybody against us?
Okay, is this
I saw someone. I will admit I'm a little bit ignorant about. I saw someone say this is a podcast. Where is this conversation happening? Are people saying this on TikTok? Where are they saying this?
Yeah, so we're saying it's on YouTube and TikTok. What's your name?
This is Doxy. Oh, this is Doxy B. Somebody else knew it just came.
Yeah, I'm talking about. So who said that? The TikTok thing, was it the new person?
No, it was me. It was Doxy.
Okay,
B.
go ahead. I'm sorry. You know what? When somebody come in, I don't know why. I think their voice is your voice is their voice. But go ahead.
Yeah. So you're saying this is happening on TikTok and YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm saying this is happening outside in public. This is happening outside.
I'm sorry. I'm mixing. I mean, like the broadcast, like what we're talking about now. This is going to be aired on obviously TikTok, but also YouTube is what I meant to say.
I think she's asking where are immigrants saying these type of things? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that was my question.
No, this happens outside. I live in New York City currently, and this happens outside in regular work jobs and regular conversations, just outside.
Okay, so I can only apologize. Wow. Okay. I don't know. Wow.
Have you been on the Trip channel? They are talking about Black Americans extremely bad over there.
On TikTok?
Yeah, it's a Trip. Trip is an African, and he is hosting something similar to what this brother is doing, and he allows people to come up and give their opinion, and you have both African and Black Americans, and they are talking about Black Americans extremely bad, lazy, you won't try to get a job, you won't try to work. I mean, it's horrible. And that's how they feel, because they say it all the time.
Wow.
Not just that, but most spaces that have this type of dialogue, they're all like that. They're all the same.
Yeah, see, that was the thing. All I'd ever seen, that's the problem with these algorithms. All I'd ever seen was suddenly people started popping up saying FBA, FBA. And even I was thinking the same thing that you're saying, Helen. Like, why are we fighting? We're all better off not fighting. Because when they look at us, we look the same. So
right, but hold on.
I didn't realize this was, I'm sorry.
All right, so why when you talk, it also shows the time and circumstance. Yeah, so time and circumstance. You might, if you're not talking, but do you have anything to say? Because your background look like you're chefing up in the kitchen. Time and circumstance.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
Hello?
Yeah, you. Yeah.
Oh, I
Where you
didn't
from?
know I was up.
Oh, you didn't mean to be?
I didn't
Okay,
request, no.
yeah. My fault. All right, I'll drop you back down.
All right.
Okay, Doc CB. So,
Yes.
all right. Let me see. What happens is people are in the middle of the discussion and don't know the origins. Okay. So let me take you to the origins, because it's no fight. I mean, the only fight was the Africans and the Caribbeans towards Black Americans, but the only fight was Black Americans in our government. And then Africans and Caribbeans stepped in the conversation. So they joined the fight, but they was on the whitey guy's side. So that's how it started. So, for example.
Wait. What whitey guy? You can't tell me that white. Ooh. You mean that whitey guy?
I mean the American government. Our fight has always been the American government, right? Going back from plantation slavery to Jim Crow to civil rights, right? It's always been the government. You guys were never a thought. You're too small in numbers, right? So you don't have the power like that. Like, you're in power, you're allowed to do things, but you don't have no original power. It's the white man that run this country. So what we did was, like we always did, we was pointing out all the historical harms that was done to us. And we're like, hey, so what you gonna do? Like, wealth was stripped from us. We were excluded while you use our labor, and now the country is super wealthy, super fat, and we got little to nothing. Even the gains we had, you took that from us. So our argument in the 60s, Dr. King talked about going to Washington for a check. This at his life, So our issue always been with our American government and about compensation, reparatory damages. Okay. So now, when we went about trying to get reparatory damages in our name, Black, unbeknownst to us, the white man behind our back had made Black a race and then said, hey, you can't get anything exclusively based on race. That's a violation to the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause Act, right? The Equal Protection Clause. So they said, yeah, you can't get anything based on race. Now we're confused. We're like, what you mean? Like, we're Black. Like, yeah, we made Black a race. So we're like, what you mean you made Black a race? Like, yeah, we Black's a race. It's inclusive to everybody from Africa and the Caribbean. So you can't get anything for Black people because then that means everybody from the Caribbean and Africa comes to get here, they're entitled to that. Bruh. And you can't exclude them because that's discrimination. So you're discriminating based on race. So it's like a whole semantical play. So we was like, oh, okay. And that's when we said, okay, so what needs to be done? We need to come up with a delineated term that's not race-based because they co-opted Black and African American. So if you don't know, African American and Black are both ethnicities for us and racial categories. So that means anything cannot be done for African Americans or Black people. If so, Ed Blum and his AAER corporation is going to sue the hell out of you and dismantle it. So we got smart. We said, okay, so we need a delineated term that talks about a harmed group, a harmed ethnic group that is owed repairs. So that's where you came with ADOS, right? We couldn't use Black, we couldn't use African American. So they forced us to a whole different identity. So the first one was ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, right? And now the wealth gap is so large between Black Americans and white people that no hard work is going to close the gap. So we said, so now not only we're delineating, now the only solution going forward is reparations. That's the only thing that can remotely close the wealth gap between Black Americans and white Americans. Immigrants are not in the conversation at all. Okay? So then now we know that to get anything done for us, it has to be narrow and exclusive. It got to be specific. It can't be widened where people from the Caribbean, Brazil, or Africa could get into it. Because then if you could get into it, then nobody gets anything. See, that's the racial trick bag. So we knew we had to make it very specific. For example, when you had the 19 Civil Liberties Act, 1988 Civil Liberties Act for Japanese people for being thrown in those internment camps in 1940 something, right? That wasn't for all Japanese people. That wasn't for all, it was for Japanese people who were specifically put in internment camps. So this was a specific group, not even tailored to the other Japanese people. So we had to do something similar, something for us and our ancestors and nobody else. It had to be specific phraseology, right? The framework got to be specific. So we came up with ADOS, and then you got FBA, you got Freedmen. All these are synonymous. They mean the same thing because they're identifying the same harmed class. So now when Africans and Caribbean people got caught wind of that, they're not going to be tied to a terminology any longer that's associated with us. A lot of Caribbean and African people start to say things like, hey, you're being xenophobic. They're gaslighting us. Hey, you're being xenophobic. You're being divisive. You're an HATEA group. And we're like, no, this what needs to be done to get compensation. There's no other way. We have to have a delineated term. That's the legal law. That's the legal playground. That's how you play in legalese. So from there, we were being gaslit, xenophobic, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when it spiraled to where it's at now, snowballed to where it's at now. Cause we like, hey, what does this got to do with you? This is between our and American government, and us changing our name doesn't change your name. It just changed our name. And we're not excluding you. We're not saying we can't ally. We're just saying this is the terminology. This is identification. We need to get things that was owed to us and only us. And then you got the diaspora war coming from the Caribbean and Africa, undermining and sabotaging our stance from that point on. And then they got sloppy to a rock throwing contest it is now. That's not how it started.
It's been very confusing for me because I've heard that thing about the reparations and I've thought, okay, I would never be offended that I wasn't included in the reparations. So I think the important part, the important thing to the important contextual piece that I'm seeing on the immigrant side is the ongoing war against immigrants in general. So it might feel like an underhanded way.
Wait, you gotta be specific. What, because you said war. What war is headed towards immigrants? What war? Oh, you talking about no? I ain't that's not immigrants. That's immigrants who visas expire. That's people who came here as evacuees, asylees, refugees, and their time is up because you come here.
I can see how to you. Okay.
No, I'm saying. Listen to American immigrant again. Study immigration laws in America. The way immigration has always worked. It always worked where you came over. So that's called humanitarian immigrants. You got the hyper-selected immigrants, and you have the humanitarian immigrants. The humanitarian immigrants are here for a specific term. That's because their homeland went through a hurricane, volcano eruption, whatever like that, or political issues with their country, like the Iranians, and they're invited over here for a set time that's temporary. It's not permanent. Never was permanent. Okay. And their stay is going to expire. They know that. And when it expires, they are supposed to self-deport. A lot of them do not self-deport. They hide in the country. They go to a sanctuary state or whatever, and they continue to live as an undocumented person. So ICE always got rid of undocumented people whose stay was expired. That's always been America's way.
Okay, so I can understand how you would look at that way. From an unemotional and untraumatized perspective. And I like to draw parallels to help explain myself. I will take the phrase MAGA. I'm not going to say, I think I can say it, Make America Great Again. That sounds like a very reasonable, actually pretty useful and pretty good thing to do. But what it's meaning in experience of, in terms of people who are not on the same side as that is different. And there's a person who is an immigrant. I came on an F1, went through a green card, and I'm now a naturalized. I kid you not. So technically, they should never be able. That what ICE is doing should never affect me. But I can tell you that I'm not only traumatized, but much more edgy because of what's going on with ICE. Because from the experience of somebody who's on the other end, it doesn't feel or look or give the clean, reasonable, normal aesthetic that it's supposed to. So I only say that to say that as an immigrant who is fully legal, I have a heightened level of unsafety because of what's going on. So I could see people thinking this FBA thing is just the first step to making us next, even if we are legal. And I don't think it's rational.
The FBA thing had nothing, like, we don't work for ICE. We don't control ICE. ICE is a government.
Yes,
right.
I know,
So
but it's like
it has nothing to do with us.
It's like, so I know for you it doesn't, but what I'm trying to say is for them.
No, I'm saying, like, how do we tie in? Because you said FBA and ICE. How do we tie in the same sentence?
Once you're able to say FBA and you're saying I can hold that I was born here, then I who can no longer say I can hold that I was born here might end up in their sweep because
no, that's not how that works. Okay, so no, that's what we call ethnic inferior complex. No, us being proud to be who we are because our ancestors literally laid the foundation to this country. We laid the infrastructure. That's not even debatable. You could just Google that, right? So us being proud of what we did, because it's forgotten. We could tell by the immigrants come over here. They don't know. They'll tell you the white man built this country. So FBA was a perfect acronym to remind not just you, but the white people who act like we didn't do what we did. But that has nothing to do with your immigration status. That has nothing to do with the people who are hiding here illegally or undocumented.
If there's an African immigrant who's telling you that the white man built this country, it tells you of the loopholes that I told you. That would be one heck of an uneducated person. But
look what happens. No, what I'm saying is, again, when y'all know our history, all of our demise in this country start off as a lie. And then that lie goes unchecked, end up turning to a law or some type of written legislator to hold us back for something. So,
and I'm supportive of correcting that fact. I think it's important to educate that uneducated person that the white man didn't build. He built it on the backs of black slaves. So that needs to be corrected.
We do that. And that's what I'm doing now. That's what some of us do.
Yes,
but when we're gaslit, and when you have not just that one person, we see another person, and another person saying the same thing. Yes, now it's going to be gloves off. It's going to be Smoke City. At that point, yes, it's going to be Smoke City.
So I would like to have if you're having a conversation with another immigrant who's saying the white man built this country, I can't even help you understand their argument because it's no way, man. There's no way. The small hats got a phrase. The phrase is never again, because they went through such a tragic, horrific experience that they said the never again meant never would they allow rhetoric to go unchecked to lead to a massive oven. Okay. So they said they won't let that's why the smallest thing they'll say is anti-Semitism, right? Anti-Semitic. So the same thing with us. We're like, that's a good page out of your playbook we're going to borrow. Never again. So anytime somebody repeat, because when an immigrant says we didn't build the country, that they're really repeating scientific racism. That's something that came from the white man. And the white man say something, they'll see how far it can go and they'll make it law. They'll teach that in books, which they tried already. A lot of books got, off the shelf, but some schools actually put in their program that we were indentured servants, like we got paid, like we came here for work. So so you see how a little lie can turn to real history. It could fall into erasure. So the white man saying it is disrespectful, is hurtful, is traumatic, is triggering. So when somebody that looks like us say it, it's like okay, now you playing with me. That should never come out your mouth.
I think the reason why some people say that is when you guys, ask for reparations, and then they're like, okay, so if, you voluntarily built the country, and then why do you need reparation for?
Because it wasn't voluntary.
Right.
It wasn't voluntary.
So now they said, okay, if you are paid, then means the service you got paid to do the service. So that's why we're asking.
But nobody, people from West Africa don't believe that. Right. Well, hold on. People from West Africa don't believe that. They're the ones who sold us. Right. So there's no way that they believe that we were sold to do paid work. Because you know why? Because Africa had already came across the white man 200 years earlier. Because the white man tried to come to Africa. Hold on. Let me get this out. The white man came to Africa in the 1400s, late 1300s, trying to take people out of Africa. It didn't work. So what I'm saying is Africans already seen the type of energy the white man was coming with: war and selfish needs. So when they got fended off by Africans and diseases, they came back 200 years later with a checkbook, like saying how much. So it wasn't like Africans don't know the nature of these people. They already showed them when they first showed up to Africa. They already showed their nature. They come with conquer and taking people and destruction. They already understood that. So when they came the second time, they were not confused. Like they knew that these people were diabolic and had no good intentions. So now they knew that they were not going to take us or buy us. They were not going to buy us from Africans to pay us again. So they're not going to double pay. They're not going to pay for us to come from Africa to America to pay us for our labor. So an African believing that's just a fool. That's lying. They don't believe that. That's not taught nowhere on this earth.
Yeah, if anyone is saying that I can't that there's not, like, if anyone is saying that people are paid for slavery, or if anyone is arguing that people that are descendants of slavery do not deserve reparations, I can't. I'm out of that conversation. I can't help I can't help the black person who argues that argues against
now,
that.
Hold on. See, now that's the thing, though. See, that black person black person isn't black. That black person comes from a ethnic group, and it comes from a country.
I can't help.
All right. So before I get all deep on that, it's time to go TikTok. All right. So I'm gonna have this time right here to extend the conversation to TikTok. So if you want to join me if you want to join the panel, you have to join it from TikTok, not YouTube here. All right. So TikTok, look me up. FBA News and Updates. Unbiased Ron. I'll put the link in here. Actually, let me put the link in the chat. All right. So anybody that wants to join the panel, or you want to come up and be on a goddamn, I put TikTok. Are you serious? Okay. So anybody, I know they ain't gonna do that. Yeah, so anybody that wants to, yeah, they did that. Did they?
I found out what that Ghanaian symbol meant. The quote-unquote African burial ground in Manhattan, New York has a Ghanaian symbol. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an Adinkra symbol, and it has meaning. It is Sankofa Dwa. Sankofa means go back and get it. Go back and get what? Is Ghana going back to try to steal our identity? I found out what that Ghanaian symbol meant. The quote-unquote African burial ground in Manhattan, New York has a Ghanaian symbol. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an Adinkra symbol, and it has meaning. It is Sankofa Dwa. Sankofa means go back and get it. Go back and get what? Is Ghana going back to try to steal our identity?
I'm talking the damn thing on mute. I hate when I do that, man. It's right. I got the microphone right in my face and I'm talking on mute. All right. I hate when I do that. So if y'all noticed, I had corrected this FBA sister Helen not to say systematic racism or say anything systematic. I said you gotta say systemic. So I'm gonna break down the difference between systemic and systematic. Yeah, I was just talking all that time just now, and the mic was on mute, so people would think I left. I didn't leave. You would know when I left because I would say, "All right, family, I'm out." Okay, what is this? All right, we ain't doing that. There we go. What is this? Hold on. I'm just trying to load up on TikTok. So just hold on. Be a little patient. It's already late. It's already late. Ain't nobody going anywhere. If you ain't got nothing to do right now, you ain't got nothing to do in 3 minutes. Hold tight. What the yo? What is going on with this? So I'm over here on TikTok and I'm pressing buttons and it's like a delay. It keep freezing. So I keep pressing the button to stop the live. That's the delay. All right, let me take my time now. Okay. It's getting annoying. Look, it almost did it again. I almost fell for it again. Huh. All right, that's interesting. Okay. That is interesting. But hey, was that a good dialogue with the Africans? Like they kept it really real. And that type of information, that disclosure, that transparency, you don't see no other channel. You don't see no other channel. I've never seen any other channel where Africans were that open and honest about like what goes on in Africa. We had somebody from Uganda, we had somebody from Zimbabwe, we had somebody from Nigeria, and another person was from Ivory Coast, and they kept it real about Africa and this ability to unite with each other, let alone Black Americans. Like they really told you kiss that dream goodbye. So any Pan-Africanist that just ignores that, just a liar. Like they told you that if a person is in charge of a country in Africa, that means he's part of a tribe, and there's other tribes that don't like him because he's in the wrong tribe, and they don't want him ruling the country. They don't want him to represent them, right? They don't see that person as a leader of their tribe. And they said that even extends to Ibrahim Traore. They say he's part of a tribe in Burkina Faso, and there's other tribes in Burkina Faso that don't want him to be their leader. Like they want their chief to be the leader. So they made that very clear. Like their leaders are their chiefs, and their chiefs opposing Ibrahim Traore or any other leader, that's a potential futuristic coup. Okay. So anyway, let's get the TikTok rolling. All right. I can't stand TikTok. Every time I open up the TikTok application, a video just plays. It's like, yo, how do you put this on mute? Like so when you get on here, it just don't play a video. It should be annoying. It's worse than TikTok with that. A video just plays, man, like a random video. Let me think of a controversial topic. Okay. All right, so we about to be live on TikTok. Oh, okay. So those who stayed this long, thank you very much. All right, so now we are live on TikTok. So we're YouTube live, we're TikTok live. Okay. And why can't I see? Can Africa ever unite? 87% said yes, 13%. I'm sorry, 87% said no. 13% said yes. Okay, so let me go ahead and here they go with this drunk stuff. All right, so earlier, Sister Helen had said systematic. She said it is systematic, and I corrected her, and I said no, not systematic. It's systemic. So sometimes we use the word systematic and systemic interchangeably, or sometimes we don't even know what we're saying, right? We don't know which word to choose, I should say. Okay. So you will hear me say systemic racism. I won't say systematic racism. I'll say systemic racism. But even though systematic racism did exist at one time, but it converted, it was systematic at one point, and then it converted to systemic. Right. So systematic racism evolved to or transitioned to systematic racism. Okay, so we might got somebody up on already. Okay. All right. So maybe he clicked by mistake. All right. Okay. So when people say systemic, matter of fact, let me do systematic first. Let me not do okay. Nah, it don't matter which one I do first. Okay. Systemic racism, what I use often. That's the correct term today. Systemic racism. It's not systematic. Systemic racism means racism is built into the way systems work overall, even if no one openly says IHATE black people. You get it? So it could be anybody in that seat. So you gotta think of it as like a machine. If the machine was built unfairly long ago, the machines can still produce unfair results today, even if some workers inside the machine are personally nice people. So for example, if you guys are working at a convenience store, right? Let's say 24/7, I don't know, a convenience store. Like you're just there. You're there, right? And you're the cashier. Now there's an ATM right there that was installed by ATM people. Now, if anybody ever had problems with ATMs, you know that the ATM has nothing to do with the store that is located inside or outside. They'll tell you, call the number. So let's say if the ATM was rigged to take your money and give you back less than what you asked for. Like that's not a good analogy. Let's say the casinos. You go and okay, the change machine, right? You go to get change. You put $10 in and you want quarters. And let's say it's rigged to give you like $8 in quarters and not the $10. Now you just work there. You're a nice person. You'll never steal from anybody, right? But the change machine is rigged by the people who installed it. That's systemic racism. It runs the course no matter who's in the seat. Don't matter who's the president, who's the mayor, who's the governor, who is the lawyer, legislator, judge. It's already in play. It's plug and play for whoever sits in that seat. That's systemic racism. Okay. So it works unfairly towards Black Americans with housing systems, school funding, banking, policing, hiring, healthcare, right? No matter who's in that office, it could be Boston, it could be Baltimore, Maryland, a black city, doesn't matter. If racism is the machine, then I'm not. Can we say that word? All right. So another analogy, if two kids are running a race, one kid's family owned homes for generations, had better schools, safer neighborhoods, inherited wealth, and the other kid's family, Black American families, were blocked from owning homes, faced segregation, redlining, underpaid, targeted by discrimination, Jim Crow laws, right? The result is going to be the first kid's going to be well off, right? So even if the rules today look equal, the starting positions are not equal because the system carried old inequality forward. That's systemic racism. So when people come to this country, they immigrate over here, they look at America as it is now and they see it as equal, right? Equal opportunities. They don't understand that those unequal opportunities, that unequal system is still pushed through the colorblind state, right? That's systemic racism. Now, systematic racism is racism done in an organized, deliberate, step-by-step way. That would be Jim Crow. That would be plantation slavery. It was put out there on Front Street, South African apartheid, Nuremberg laws in Germany. Is out there, out front. It ain't hidden. That is systematic racism, right? So it's intentional, organized. Jim Crow laws were systematic racism, not systemic. Jim Crow laws were systematic racism because laws were purposely written to segregate Black Americans, right? Banks intentionally denied loans to our Black neighborhoods. That was organized and deliberate. It wasn't hidden, covert. Okay. So systematic racism equals racism done on purpose in an organized way. Systemic racism, unfairness built into the system. Racism built into the system over time, even if not every individual intends harm when they sit in that seat. Okay. So systemic means it's more covert, more hidden. Everybody act like they're so innocent. Oh no, it ain't me. And systematic racism was intentionally in your face, Jim Crow. Now, you would have white people and some people, some other people that's non-white people would gaslight you. They would talk about, what about Black on Black crime? All right. So we're going to talk about that. So when it comes to crime is either intraracial or interracial, kind of similar to exonym, endonym. Okay, so intraracial violence is between the same racial group. That's your quote unquote Black on Black crime, white on white crime. Interracial violence is between different groups. That'd be Black on white crime, white on Black crime, right? So now we got that's out the way. So you got intraracial crime and interracial crime. So the question is, are the rates similar? Right? So let me just say this. Most crime, this is the obvious answer. Most crime is intraracial. That means normally Black people commit crime on Black people and white people commit crime on white people. So when people say Black on Black crime, that they are literally playing in your face. They're literally playing your face. All crime is intraracial. Chinese on Chinese crime. Small hat on small hat crime. Somali on Somali crime. All crime is most crime is intraracial. And that simply means people usually harm people near them. Same neighborhoods, same social circles, same communities. So if you have a small population of white people living in those communities, they're going to be involved in the crime. Right? That is intraracial. Got it? Crime is usually local and proximity based, right? So FBI and crime studies have consistently shown white T victims mostly have white T offenders. Black victims mostly have black offenders. So black on black crime is not unique in the sense that white T on white crime is not common. It's also as common as anything else. So you make sure when people bring up black on black crimes, you let them know that's called interracial violence, and that's spread upon every community. 1 second. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, 1 second, family. All right. So is that clear? So now the question is, if that's true, and it is true, then why do so many people bring up black on black crime? Why do they highlight black on black crime? And what I said is true. And it's usually because violent crime rates are statistically higher in some, as you can imagine, poor neighborhoods, right? And mainly, you could look at impoverished neighborhoods, right? And they are disproportionately uh, black due to historical and economic factors, like, as I mentioned before, overcrowding, zoning laws, restrictive covenants. So that's what kept us poor. Even if we had money, we're not allowed out the community. We're not allowed to live in a more affluent neighborhood. So the affluent of us had to live amongst the poor. That's called overcrowding. They wouldn't let us get out and live a more comfortable life. They kept us together like sardines. So white tea people normally emphasize, well, black on black crime. You guys gotta be held personal responsibility, right? Gang violence, family instability. They start to say that stuff. Oh, single parents, young teens, all that stuff, right? Some people say concentrated poverty, which is the case, segregation, deindustrialization. They took the jobs from us, underfunded schools, mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline, lack of economic opportunity, housing discrimination, job discrimination. These are the real results. And over policing combined with under investment, right? That leads to gentrification. So serious scholars, not the white tea people, serious scholars know, and they point out crime is strongly connected to poverty, instability, and lack of opportunity more than race itself. But white tea people would gaslight you and say, no, poverty doesn't produce crime. Now that's just the most common sense. Poverty gonna produce crime, but they don't want us to have no reason why, people do crime. It's like, yo, there's no opportunities, and they're impoverished people, but they'll pretend no, poverty doesn't produce crime. Like, they'll gaslight the hell out you with that. And then you will hear Turning Point USA people quote the 13 to 50 thing, where they say, hey, black people make up 13% of the population, but we're responsible for 50% of the crime. Okay. So when they say that, they really are trying to argue we make up 13% of the population, but we are responsible for 50% of violent crime. Right. Which really means they're trying to get at homicide or violent crime arrest. Okay. Not all crime generally, not stealing, and because white tea people lead in what they do, the white tea collar crimes. Right. So the exact numbers vary year by year and source, but the commonly repeated claim is roughly that we make up 13% of the pop. They call it 1350. but we are responsible for 50% of homicides and violent crimes. Now, of course they're just lying. They're misrepresenting stats. What is actually being communicated to the FBI stats is that we make up 50% of the arrests of violent crimes and homicides, not convictions. So what they'll do is they'll argue that they even tripped up Tariq with this. And this is some of their bugger points. They will argue we're convicted. We're not convicted. Charged and arrested don't lead to a conviction. If you watch the first 48, people get charged all the time, and then they get dropped. Right? If you are really fans of the first 48, then you know a lot of times the charges get dropped. So crime stats often measure arrest, reported offenses, police interactions. So not every crime gets solved or reported equally. Crime is highly concentrated geographically. So most violence comes from a relatively small number of neighborhoods, often areas with concentrated poverty. That's why you can look up and see a Chicago or some other small city. It's not like, it's not national. Obviously, that most of us Black Americans are not violent criminals, and poverty does matter, right? So areas with high unemployment, horrible schools, crime, gang activity, drug markets, and housing instability usually have higher crime rates regardless of race. Now, they will gaslight you. You'll get some crazy people who will say, no, that don't matter. It's just your culture. But guess what? How do they explain that poor white areas also experience elevated crime compared to wealthier white areas? When I was debating the coon conservative, I point that out, and he had no rebuttal for that. Again, many scholars connect modern urban violence partly to segregation. Look, so it's carrying on. Things that happen to us is affect us now. Segregation, redlining. This what matters. This is what make people do some crime, make bad decisions in life. Loss of manufacturing jobs, mass incarceration. When you become incarcerated, a felony, don't that produce recidivism? Okay, drug war policies, neighborhood disinvestment. Okay, now, white crime, white tea crime. White tea Americans are around 58-60% of the population, depending on definitions used, right? Because white tea people are the majority population, white tea commit the largest total raw numbers. Oh, yeah, per capita. White tea people commit the largest total number of crimes overall in many categories, simply due, obviously, to population size. So they'll always be the majority in most stats, right? That's why they say, oh, per capita. So they'll say per capita, right? That's their go-to. But then they'll pick and choose when they do per capita and raw numbers. So white tea people commit most white-collar crime numerically, many drug offenses, domestic violence, financial crimes, corporate crimes, etc. But public discourse often focus more heavily on street violence statistics, right? So when you look at white tea violence, most white tea homicide victims are deleted by white tea people. Oh, that's shocking. But they would tell you, what they would do is white tea people would tell you, no, it's us, it's interracial. It's us deleting them. No. People usually interact with people near them socially and geographically. So we can't be responsible for black on black crime and black on white tea crime. That makes no sense, but they want you to believe that. Black on black crime happens because we're in the same city. Like we already know, like the guy living around the corner, like we live close proximity to each other. Like you don't have, like for example, like you're not going to have somebody from Newark, New Jersey, or Newark gangs beefing with Trenton gangs. Like you're never going to see that. Or Newark versus Camden. You'll never see that. Those are not close proximity cities. That's like an hour, 2-hour ride. Nobody doing that. But you'll have Newark on Newark, Newark East Orange. You'll have Newark the surrounding cities that you can drive to in 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes the most. So it's back to close proximity. So that makes no sense for white people to lie and say, hey, we commit a lot of violence towards white people. Like, they got to stop capping. Like, we're not going to drive out of our neighborhood to go over there. And we know that from the people who are living on the streets. Like, they'll post up at our stores, right, in the black community and ask for change. And I always say to them back in the day, like, hey, man, you're in the wrong city. You might want to take your butt to the white tea land, the city over there. They got the money. You asking us, you might get a whole bunch of excuses. You feel me? Yeah, you definitely in the wrong city talking about you got any spare change. So that's why I should tell them, like, yo, you in the wrong city. But you see that even with the people on the streets, they're going to come to us for change, even though we are going to get them lint from our pockets. So we all experience intra-racial violence. Again, intra-racial means the city within the city, the neighborhood within the neighborhood, and interracial crime violence is you going outside of your neighborhood to attack somebody else in another neighborhood. That doesn't happen. All right. Homicide rates tend to be higher in certain high poverty urban environments. But again, that's black on black. That ain't black on white tea. Right. So intraracial violence is much rarer than interracial violence. And because of what I just told you, like, nobody's going to ride outside their neighborhood 20, 30 minutes away to really, like, go crazy. Like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen that often. Okay. But interracial crimes receive much more media attention because they are emotionally and politically charged. So when that rare moment does happen, when that rare opportunity does happen, when a black person go outside the community and harm a white tea person, they'll broadcast it naturally throughout the nation because they want to go back to the Jim Crow days, right? Scientific racism, to try to prove that black Americans, that we are just animals. Look, and they gaslight it where it's like a big deal, like it happens often. So many people hear crime statistics and jump from some groups having higher crime rates in certain categories to, therefore, race biologically causes crime. So then they'll say it's a race thing, like it's in your DNA, like that's how you're born. Like, no, just a lone wolf. Remember the lone wolf thing? So serious, criminologists generally reject that conclusion that is biological. Crime rates are strongly associated with poverty, instability, inequality, trauma, social environment, opportunity, policing patterns, and neighborhood conditions. But a white tea man, the conservatives will gaslight you and say, nope, it's just your culture. That doesn't happen that way. It's your culture. C note says, what's crazy is we are the highest rated group of being attacked by hate. Right. By HATE crimes. Right. Look, a Chud the Builder, what's his name? Dalton. A Dalton situation rarely happens with another. Okay. You won't see another people being attacked like that outside of black Americans. You won't see people attacking Hispanics and getting away with it like that. Look, you got the law arresting illegal Hispanics and they're protected. So they are even when they're wrong, they get protection. So can you imagine somebody attacking legal Hispanics? Look at the Asian crime bill, right? They got something. So a Chud builder can never really happen where he's attacking another race. It has to be black Americans. Like, we're the most unprotected, vulnerable people in this country. And people try to act like that doesn't happen. But when you have a neighborhood with stable jobs, good schools, low poverty, safe housing, and strong local businesses, you're going to get a neighborhood with less crime, right? But if you have a neighborhood that have abandoned buildings, um, is blighted of weak economic opportunities, no jobs, yes, you're going to have more crime. That's just common sense. But they'll gaslight you and say, nope, 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 nope. It's your culture. That's what they would say. Just telling you. But that's why many researchers focus more on environment and conditions rather than race alone. And you even have Black American FBA conservatives also arguing this too. Like, nah, it's culture. Like, just go watch my debate when I debated CLR. So again, interracial crime is crime that mostly happens within the same group. So that is true for Blacks, whites, Asians, Latinos, nearly everybody. Okay. And just to recap, systemic racism is historical systems producing unequal outcomes over time, racial outcomes over time. And systematic racism is deliberate, organized racist actions or policies like South African apartheid, Nuremberg laws, and Germany, and Jim Crow in America. So the crime stats, they mislead them when you strip the historical context. That's why all of the conservatives will say don't bring up the past, because they don't want you to bring up the historical context, right? And they reduce it to slogans, it's culture. Or they imply biological inferiority. They'll do the bell curve thing, which is hilarious to hear somebody that's like Black American to actually go there, or anybody from that's Afro or Afro-African, because you got those conservatives also that will argue that it's biological, and they are grouped up in the same race. So don't forget, Black on Black crime, family. They're not talking about ethnicity. You hear the word 99.9% of the time, it's going to be in the context of race. So when you hear like a Caribbean conservative arguing about Black on Black crime, they're trying to act like it's just us, or a African conservative acting like it's just Black Americans, you make sure to tell them, hey, isn't that a racial category? So you're in that too, huh, buddy? And that's the bottom line. You're in that too, buddy. And they don't like when you have somebody like me on there that's intelligent. Okay, that can call them out. All right. Let's see. Where does this right here? So I'm gonna play the second half of that dialogue with the Ugandan woman. No, she was Zimbabwean. She's from South Africa. Because she started off like kind of genuine, but at the very end, she got kind of like disingenuous a little bit, and she fled from the conversation when she found out she wasn't Black. Yeah, Africans are not Black, neither are people from the Caribbean. They are Caribbean and they are African, and we're Black. That's how that works. People from Africa are African. People of the Caribbean are Caribbean. People, Black Americans from America are Black. But we're not Caribbean. We're not African. Just like the Caribbean ain't African. They're not Black. Just like Africa isn't the Caribbean and they ain't Black. So why are we sharing our identity when the other identities are not shared? It's because that's not how that works. We're not playing musical chairs. So we want to encourage everybody from Africa and the Caribbean to be proud of who you are. Don't suffer from ethnic inferior complex. Okay, so that's a term that is defined where you want to be black and you don't want to be yourself, which is either African or West Indian. And also, you don't want to give Black Americans any props because you feel like giving us props is like making you feel inferior. That's why we call it ethnic inferior complex. We want you guys to have confidence. Be proud to be Jamaican. Be proud to be Zimbabwean. And just like we're proud to be black, we got songs that's stating we're proud to be black. We're not proud to be African. We're not African. We're not proud to be West Indian or Caribbean. We're not that. We're not proud to be Haitian. We're not Haitians. So none of y'all can be proud to be black because you're not black. You're whatever your country is and your tribe. That's what you are. And be proud of it. So yeah, we don't like when people start attaching themselves to black. Because by doing that, you erase and you dilute our ethnicity and eventually erase it because you flatten it out. So therefore, Black history is no longer history in America, is now history in Africa, Haiti, and the Caribbean. It's like, yo, are you serious? Like, can you imagine like teaching Haitian history and you talk about what happened in the Congo with Leopold? Or Ethiopia. It's like, yo, what that got to do with Haiti? Or you talking about Eritrea when it separated itself from Ethiopia? Like, what that got? Or the Sudan, what they had, the issue they had with the Moroccans and the British and what is that? What is the what is the people from that area, North Africa with the Ottoman, there you go. British and the Ottoman Empire has sacked Sudan. Okay. But what that got to do with the Zulu nation? Feel me? So yeah, don't let people gaslight you. Be proud to be where you're from. So I'm gonna speak on this more in depth tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna talk about what black means ethnically, right? And what it means racially. Now, every time I talk about this is never the same way I said it before. Okay, so my research is always going to be a little different and more deeper. So if you think you heard it all, you didn't. Always, like every time I talk about it, I mention it, I always become sharper, or there's a new idea, new epiphany that comes to my mind, and I research it and I add that to it. Or I have a discussion with somebody who's coming at us, trying to attack our lineage, and I had to do some research to debunk them, and I end up adding it to, what I already have. So every time I talk about who's black and who's not, you want to always be in tune because it's an update. It's a revised edition. Okay? It's always sharper and pinpoint. So when I say Africans are not black or the Caribbean or Haitians are not black, that's not like a disrespectful thing. That's not being xenophobic or divisive. I'm just stating the obvious. You're not. You're Haitian. And I don't have a problem with Haitians. Haitians are cool people. Some black Americans are cool. Not every black American is cool. You feel me? So that's not a disrespectful thing for somebody to tell me, for as a Zimbabwean to tell me, unbiased Ron, hey, you're not Zimbabwean. I'm like, okay. Like I won't feel like, what? What you mean I'm not Zimbabwean? Like that's an obvious fact. I'm not Zimbabwean. So why are people up in arms when we say you're not black? To be black, you gotta be coming from US chattel slavery in this country. That's what makes you black. So that's what it means, okay? I don't know if Crown meant to hop on. Yeah, but if you had any questions about that, about me saying people are not black, people of Africa are not black, or the Caribbean or Haitian, feel free to ask an invite to hop on, and you probably got questions, right? Ask me questions so I can further clarify what I mean, or maybe I gotta be more detailed, which I can be. And again, it's not disrespect. Just like a Haitian person would tell me, "Hey, man, Sak Pak say." I don't know. I don't know what to say back. I say, "Hey, man, peace, be one," whatever. And he gonna be like, "Okay, you're not Haitian," and I'm like, "Okay, that doesn't bother me." Like a lot of Black Americans get mistaken to be other ethnicities. Sometimes somebody call us, "Hey, I thought you were," if we're dark enough, "Hey, I thought you were Haitian." If we're brown enough, "Hey, I thought you was Dominican, Puerto Rican." If we're light enough, "Hey, I thought you was this." Like we get all of that. Sometimes like we look like different ethnicities, but we're not disrespected if they realize we're not that. If they walk up to me speaking Spanish and I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like they're gonna realize I'm not Latino. I'm not Hispanic. I won't be disrespected. I won't feel disrespected. That's just the obvious truth. So I'm saying the same thing back to them. You're not black. Black is something that is reserved only for Black Americans. Like Marcus Garvey for a minute. Like Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was proud to be Jamaican. Marcus Garvey never understood himself to be one of us in America. But Marcus Garvey did his scamming in America amongst Black people, Black Americans. He was scamming us, but he made it clear that we are not the same. Like we're probably both from African ancestry, if that applies to you. We're both from chattel slavery, right? But we're both not black and we're both not Jamaican. And Marcus Garvey understood that. Kwame Ture understood that. He understood he's not one of us. He's from Trinidad. He understood I'm from Trinidad. Like that, there was no. So where did this confusion happen? When did people from the island start to be confused? I'm an island boy. Yeah, you're an island boy. You're not black. Like, so when did the confusion happen? Because we understood for many years, decades, that you guys understood you're not black, and you would say, "I'm not black." So where did this confusion happen where you had this awakening and now all of a sudden, "Oh, I am black." And I'm gonna tell you, man, that started around the 2020s, probably 2023. Like that is very recent because we live amongst y'all. Some of us live amongst y'all. We know you never said you were black before. Now all of a sudden you black. That's not how that works. Because if you say you're black, we're gonna say, "Well, where your mama from? Where your daddy from?" That comes next. You dig? Hey, I hear an accent. How you black with that accent? Feel me? So that's all. If you black, we want to know where you from. And most likely you're probably gonna have ancestral roots from the South. But if your ancestral roots go to an island or Africa, you're African and you're an island. And I'm black. We are different. We got differences. Nice to meet you. We can still do business. We can still get along, build alliances. Just because we're delineating, and that just means we're being very precise about who we are, that's distinct from you. That doesn't mean we're saying stay away. That means, hey, I am so and so, and this is my flag. I'm a Black American, and I got a Black American heritage flag. You're Jamaican. You got a Jamaican flag. You're Haitian. You got a Haitian flag. You're a Zimbabwean. You got a Zimbabwean flag. Congolese, you got that flag. Sudanese, Ethiopian, Eritrea. Those are the flags. Somali, and you got a Somalian flag. Why do folks got to be us? And that's rhetorical. Tariq said something very clever today. Oh, okay. He said this. I never thought about this. He said the reason why a lot of recent Afro people have an issue with us delineating because they see that as we're divisive in like alliances. That's not how they feel. They feel that we're being divisive as far political parties. They feel like we say we're delineating, we're automatically Republican or whatever, but we're not the same political party anymore. Like we're delineating, we're making the political party weaker. And I'm like, yo, that was a great observation by Tariq. I'm like, wow, I never considered that. That's probably what they mean. I'm like, there's no way they believe because we're delineating, we want a more precise name that's exclusive for us, that distinguishes us from everybody in the world. There's no way they believe that's being divisive because everybody has a delineating term. Jamaican is a delineating term, and so is Haitian. Haitian lets you know I'm not Dominican, and Dominican lets you know I'm not Haitian, and Sudanese lets you know I'm not Somalian, and Eritrean, that's a delineating term to let you know I'm not Ethiopian, right? Burkinabe, I'm not Mali. Zulu, I'm not that. I'm not this right here. Egyptian, that means I'm not Moroccan. These are all delineating terms. And Boogle says, if I'm saying, I hope I didn't blow your name. He said they've been saying that on Clubhouse when we delineated over 5 years ago before election. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I gotta find a way. I gotta find a way to get cooking on. Is Clubhouse still a thing? Is Clubhouse still a thing? Because I would love to get cooking over there if that's still a thing. Okay, let's get. Is Clubhouse still a thing? Some people be on Twitter Spaces. I don't know how I do that because I'll be trying to get on Twitter to get some spaces to have these conversations, and it's like impossible. Okay, so we're done there. Thank you for the super chat, Dominique F. Hudson. Okay. I have screenshotted and recordings from where it started, lineage-based reparations. Really? I need that. They became very ignorant. We never did anything to the diaspora. Right. Exactly. All because we said we're delineating and we want some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Man, stop it. This monitor, this TikTok got his own moderator. Yeah, you got the screenshots. Yeah, I'm at the yeah, the later I'm up, my eyes get blurry as crap. I got my glasses in here somewhere. Hold on. Hold on. These things are foggy. R Boogie, that's your name. R Boogie says, when I get time tomorrow, I'll send them. Yeah, I need those. I need those. Let me read that thing again. They've been saying that over 5 years before. Okay, I need that. Yeah, I need that. Yeah, so we are not divisive. We're not saying now you got some people that's on TikTok some FBAs who might be just that. They might be exactly what they say they are. They might say, hey, I don't want no relations with anybody outside the lineage, and you can't knock them. That's their right. But they don't represent 50 million. They represent themselves. Like, we're not a monolithic people. So when y'all make us one, that's like white T-man talk. Like, you're borrowing the ideology and framework of your oppressor, your colonizers back in your homeland. If an FBA person does something, then guess what? He's an FBA person who does something. That has nothing to do with me, unless I was with them or if I co-signed it, you did publicly. But no, that's a lone wolf. I'm not responsible, and I don't got to speak to that. I don't got to refute it, rebuke it. No, that person did what they did, and that has nothing to do with me. I have no comments on their actions. So let me see. Our boogie said, I got where they told us they'd take over, put knees on our necks. Wow. He said, I find it ironic, 2025, so Democrats, majority immigrants or undocumented, had everything to do with it. Yeah. Let me see some of that stuff, man. Unbox, and you unbox me after church. After church, you must live in the, all right, you must live in the deep south. You must live in the Carolinas or so you must live in the Carolinas or Virginia. So I'm gonna guess you live in the Carolinas or Virginia. Now watch he say Alabama or something like that. Dominic F. Hudson, $5 super chat, said you be on it because it's so exhausting listening to the pretending to be confused people. It's not rocket science, as you would say. Right. They pretend to be slow and on a spectrum. It's like, stop it. William says Ibram Touré is the blueprint. I don't have an issue with Ibram Touré, to be honest. But the blueprint for, like I said, I had no problem with people trying to control their own destiny and making moves. Yeah, I think that was clever for him to take the seat from people who he felt was being stagnant, complacent. They removed them by force. They restored, some law and order. They took control of some resources themselves. They made a deal. They said, hey, we don't think the French is in our best interest. They removed the French. They linked up with Russians, and if it's working for them, great. But I would like to know more about the blueprint, though. So if you want to, William, you can click the link, hop on, and let me hear more about the blueprint. Because you didn't specify. Thank you for the floating heart, Ruby. Because, Will, you didn't specify the blueprint for who. If you're saying the blueprint for Africa, I mean, guess what? Other countries might disagree, right? Because other countries may not want to do that. And like, you definitely can't be in America telling like Africa what's best for them. Like, that's like reverse tetherisms. Like, you become a tether for them. If you're FBA and you're telling Africa what's better for them, then you become their tether. Like you're doing what we say they shouldn't do for us. I can't tell you what's best for Nigeria. They can only tell you. Now, there's obvious wrongs. Like, scamming is wrong. Yeah, scamming is wrong. Like, there's no nation gonna be built strong for scamming. Live in Pittsburgh. Okay. So our boogie said he live in Pittsburgh. Oh, woman, you're okay. I'm getting back to everything good about Ruth. Okay. Yeah, I can't, like I said, I got to put my glasses on to see, and the glasses are foggy. I had it in the car somewhere collecting dust. Yeah, so William, so if you are a Foundation Black American, then you now it said this, Ruby. It said Ruby sent floating heart for 10 jewels. That's what it said you did. Just sent the first gift, big move. Yeah. In June, radio said we have so many black tethers in the country. Well, you mean African Afro tethers in the country. Now that's why they attacking the voter bill thing. They know us, the Americans delineated, so the immigrants are going to jump on the vote blue boat now. Yeah. Yeah. Like, and the truth is, black Americans, we are ethnically black. Everybody else ethnically their country. So when I was talking to Revenue, he said, "Hey man, in the census in all these English speaking countries, the word black is there." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure it is. The English, that's a color, my guy. And so is red, so is car, so is horse. All those, so is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You dig? So is hello and goodbye and good night, good morning. That's all there in English speaking countries. What's your point? Oh, nah, see, they are black there. No, they're not. Okay, so when the white people call them black, that ain't the same as us calling ourselves black. Those are two different contexts, two different connotations, my guy. When the white people call you something, it's up to no good. Like, y'all really believe they'll call you something that's nice? Y'all really believe that white people will come up with a name for you that you didn't come up with yourself, and it's going to mean something respectful? They're going to hide you, they're going to hold you in high regard and reverence you. Stop it. When white people come up with a name for you, it's usually disrespectful. And if y'all can't see that, y'all just Ray Charles. Like, see, and that's what we say about black Americans. We don't let white people frame anything for us, and they damn sure ain't gonna name us something. Okay, we don't do that. Like, our culture, like we are. I like the theme with Hidden Color 6. It's called resistance or resilience. And I got a song called Resistance. I can't come up with a song. How we always, so basically the theme of my song is white people never worked hard. They never got it from the mud. They always had assistance. And I say, on the contrary, black Americans, we always got it from the mud. We're the hardest working people to ever come to America. And we never had assistance. We were excluded from it, but we had to resist. We always gave this system resistance. We are a resilient people. So I like that theme of HC6, resilience. Dope, because that perfectly describes us. Yeah, you're talking about the Zondervan Bible, right? Ruby 7. You're talking about the Zondervan Compact Bible. You said there are books that say Negroes are not from Ham. You're talking about the Zondervan Compact Bible. Yeah, I've been around. I know a lot. I don't talk about everything I know, 'cause I'm not trying to be the smartest person in the room. But you're talking about the Zondervan Bible. It says that in there. And so I know a lot. But again, I stay on topic. I stay focused on what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is delineating and demanding reparations. And that's why most of my broadcast is about that. And I like to correct false information. I like to debunk stuff. So tomorrow at some point, I'm going to play I'm going to react to my own debate with me and this Pan-African dude who was trying to disrespect FBAs. He was trying to say our efforts for reparations are fruitless because other people, specifically Pan-Africans, who fought for reparations, all their cases failed miserably. So I'm like, well, what that got to do with us? He's like, no, because you're giving the same argument as them. So you're giving the same argument, so that means that you're gonna fail miserably like them. I'm like, nah, that's dumb logic. That got nothing to do with us. That got nothing to do with us. So I said, for one, they all argued race-based reparations. So now, family, what he did was play semantics, because most of those people, like HR 40. So it says, I got another warning violation. So Tether's flagging me. It says on TikTok, your live is flagged for civic and election integrity. Repeated violations could result in your live being discontinued. So I don't know what that was about. And how do you even challenge that? So it says, I've been warned for election something or whatever. Whatever. Yeah, so TikTok, stay flagging you. Yeah, the Negroes are not Africans. I'm freezing up. Really? I'm being flagged on TikTok. I'm being froze on YouTube. Yeah, so when y'all come on YouTube, make sure you click that like button, because I'm being shadow banned. And like, the shadow ban is so bad on YouTube is that when I try to find my own, like I went live, right? But I went live under another account of mine, not FBA News and Updates. So when I went to switch over to FBA News and Updates, and I went to go find my live that I'm doing, I couldn't even find it. It's like, how I'm the person going live and I can't find my own account on YouTube. I can't find my own live on YouTube. So that's when you know you're being shadow banned. I can't easily find my own live. I type in FBA News and Updates and it's like giving me a hard time. Thanks for the roses. Yeah, it's giving me a hard time to find access my own live. So I'm being like really shadow banned on YouTube. And you can see Tariq Nasheed. That's probably why he went to Islam Radio. Tariq Nasheed should have already been at 1.2 million subscribers. He's still at 250,000. Like, how is that even possible? Like the dude is becoming more well known. His name is trending more than ever. He's on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. His name is out there. He got these big documentaries, big events. His name is always in somebody's mouth. Pause. And no real membership, subscription grew. Like no significant subscription. Like, yeah, that's impossible. But our channels are being flagged, shadow banned, and that's unfortunate. Like, so we got to really toe the line when we speak on these platforms. So I got to even speak more on code on TikTok, I see. Because they flagging me saying, hey, man, if you do it again, we're going to permanently ban you. I can't even challenge that flag. YouTube that later. How to challenge a flag on YouTube. Wait, I was gonna do something else. I was here. I was gonna do something else. Oh, tomorrow I'm gonna play a reaction to a dude giving he's giving a reaction on the Drake albums that are horribly garbage. So when I heard like a snippet from the Breakfast Club, his flow is so elementary and it's outdated. He outaged himself. The dude's like 90 years old, trying to appeal to like 18 and 20-year-olds. Like he's targeting. You would think at this point in his life, he'll target his age group. Like, because that's where you get your core fan base from, right? So when you tour, Mary J. Blige tour, it's gonna be her age group. Nas tour his age group, and people even younger. If Lil Wayne tour his age group, around there, a little older, a little younger. But this weird dude, the 69 guy Drake, he targets young, like he try to target 18 and 20-year-olds. He's like 90 years old, trying to rap, what they talk about. Popping on PILS, and he know damn well he don't do that. Right. Flow garbage. He's trying to be witty. He's mad at everybody, and it looks like these songs are old. It looks like these are songs. This was an album he was going to put together during or after the beef with him and Kendrick Lamar, but he didn't fathom how many years Kendrick Lamar run would be. He didn't fathom that. He thought this was a battle. He lost 3-4 months. They'll get over it, and he could put out his albums. So it looked like he had albums put together that he never released. So with this Iceman garbage hype, he just released all of the music. So it's like old stuff he rapped about 3 years ago. The flow is garbage. The beats are weak for his message. Like, he's supposed to have a dark and gloomy beat for some of his messages. He got a happy, fluty beat. It's just horribly garbage. So I'm gonna play my guy doing a review of the album, and he was just 100% real. He was honest. He didn't say every song was hot garbage, hot lava garbage, hot volcano lava garbage. He says some songs are okay, but he said the overall thing was just garbage. There's no theme, there's no directions, all over the place. He just rapping where, look, I'm the kid. I go around popping bottles, you dig? I'm the best since Big. You can ask my rib. When I eat food, I don't wear a bib. Like, like, so my man gonna do I'm gonna play the review. This is on YouTube. So you guys on TikTok, you gotta come to YouTube tomorrow. My YouTube channel is FBA News and Updates. So what I normally do, I go on YouTube, then I go on TikTok simultaneously. But I go on YouTube for presentations. I can't share my screen on TikTok. But on YouTube with my laptop, I can share my screen and present. It's dope. And I do my reaction. You can't do reaction on TikTok. So I'm gonna play his reaction to Drake's album. Was funny, but all facts, all facts. His critique is spot on, and like I said, he was given credit where it was due. But overall, it's an F. All the albums are a grade F. Corny flow, elementary bars, trying to be witty, still stuck on the L, trying to diss everybody. And nobody want to hear him dissing anybody. Yeah, and then he sued to make it worse. Yeah, listen, look, you can just hold the L, like when Meek Mills held the L from Drake, he went back to making music. Like, people could hold an L and go right back to music. When Remy Ma had this Nicki Minaj really badly, Nicki Minaj went back to just making music, being back #1, like female artist. So that was Drake thing. Drake should just held the L and just made the music for his fans, right? Because he's never going to be where he was. Like, his image is too damaged, and then, like I said, his style is outdated. He out-aged himself. Corny, man. He just corny. He got 3 albums. Like, who puts out 3 albums? And I'm not interested in hearing one song. Not one song. At the gym, when we rotate music, while you playing basketball, man, we can make a rule, like, no Drake. You can play anybody you want. You could play Little Pump. You could play 6ix9ine. No Drake. You dig? No Drake. That is the rule. So earlier I spoke about Chud the Builder. I said that he got like some GoFundMe money to pay his 10%. His bond is like his bail like 1.2. His bond 1.2 million, and he just needed 10% of that, and he got 200,000 in donations. But it looks like the judge just might block that. The judge is going to block that. And if that's the case, if the judge blocked that, he's done. Because that means he either got to cop a plea, which is going to be minimum 10 years. Minimum 10 years. Okay? So he got to cop a plea to 10 years or go to trial. And you know, if he goes to trial, he's going to be sitting in that jail for like 2 years. And the jail's not like prison. Like prison, you're protected with another white T group. But jail, nah, it ain't the same in jail. That white tee protection, it ain't the same. It's like everybody for themselves. So his worst nightmare is the judge blocking him from receiving that GoFundMe money. That's his. I'm saying if that happens, he's done. Unless you go to PC, protective custody. Yeah, but I tagged you by accident. I guess I was tapping the screen and tapped you. My bad. So yeah, I didn't even see it. My bad. If Drake didn't, okay, I read that part. Yeah. So I'm just like really not interested in Drake elementary bars. Like the dude really can't. He can't rap. Like he just don't have bars. Like he might do some slick talk here and there, but if you really listen to his rap, it's hot trash. Like it's not dope. Like nobody can repeat some Drake stuff. Like yo, listen to this. Drake said this. It's gonna be elementary bars. That's overhyped. Oh man, I gotta show this video, man. This video. So some guy that speaks Spanish, he was illegal and he was wanted for his undocumented, he's wanted for like some violent crimes, whatever. So the police officer pulled up on him. He came out with one of those Julio Folio things, pew pews, and was letting off on those cops. Man, whoa. It was really intense. He was running fast like some army guy, some contraband guy. And then but he was popping those cops. But you know, they were okay, but they were injured or wounded. So this woman cop, oh my God, she panicked. She lost it, man. She had a nervous break. She was crying, like nothing ever happened to her. She was just that scared. So when they finally deleted the guy, she's crying and they like coming to her trying to cheer her on. Now you know they like, hey, you don't belong here. You gotta go. But in her face, oh, now you did good. You're brave. But you know she never believed that. So if I get a chance, I'm gonna show that tomorrow as well. That was crazy. But even in that video, it's gonna tell you that crime nationally went down. So crime nationally went down. Oh man, I ain't mean to do that. Yeah, but I ain't trying to hear nothing about. Yeah, I was watching Jalil White, Steve Urkel. I was watching his what he talked about Family Matters. Like they went like to continue his contract. They wanted him to sign like a blank contract, like where no money was on the table. Like they'll fill it out later. It's like it's really sad. um how like these companies try to take advantage. Like some of that stuff should be sued. Like if you can prove that they, because that's abuse. Like that's very predatory, very predatorial, right? That stuff should be you know what I mean? Like that should be abuse where you could sue. Record label, whatever, like try to do the most to get over on you. Like there should be a law where if you can prove that, you can show that they try to get over you with a horrible contract that doesn't benefit you at all. Like they get all the money, like that should be a way you can sue them. He said they gonna have him sign a blank contract where they writing the details later. I'm like, what? So that's why it discontinued. Okay, so I might play that one too. The Saint was debating an African dude. So that's looked kind of interesting. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna just wake up and just play some reactions. I'm gonna play the Saint. I'm gonna play the Drake review. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Get YouTube rocking really early. I was looking for something in particular. I was looking for a video I cannot find. I forgot what I was looking for, to be honest. Okay, what was I looking for? Y'all gotta see this one right here. I got this. I'll show this tomorrow. The 108. Oh, this Black American woman, 108 years old, and moving and driving like she got her license renewed. She's 108 years old, yo. I'm gonna play this tomorrow. 108 years old, FBA woman. 13 arrested in a bust up of New Jersey human traffic light ring. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. What's up? Y'all hear that woman back in the news? I don't have an opinion on her. I haven't really watched any of her stuff, but Cheyenne Bryant, her name seemed to go viral a lot. I don't have an opinion on her because I never really watched her stuff. I just see that she goes viral a lot. That's all I know. This dude Drake is so corny. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Anything else in the news? Damn. California governor's debate hosted by CBS News California. Yeah, so the gerrymandering is going on. A lot of that stuff. See, are you in the building? Ruby's out. B1 to you. Yeah, so look, B1 to you guys. I would say tap in early morning. I'm gonna play 2 videos. The Saint had a debate with a Nigerian guy, and my man Carcino for Life is going. I want y'all to hear his reaction to Drake's albums. Okay, so I'm gonna play all that as soon as I wake up, because a lot of times I wake up at 3:55 in the morning, and I go back to sleep. Wake up 5 a.m. So once I wake up, I'm just gonna. If y'all up, I'm gonna start the live early, just so I could get it out the way. Cause I got so much stuff, and y'all send me so much stuff, and trust me, I'm gonna play y'all stuff. I just haven't got around to it because I got so much stuff. I got so much information because I research every day. I watch and listen to stuff every day, and then I come on here and talk to y'all, and y'all give me stuff. So I'm like, that's good. You know, that's good to have. That's like money. I look at that as money. When you guys send me information and videos, that's just money in a bank. So when I run out of my own stuff, I look through what y'all sent me and okay, get it real from there. You dig? So you guys want to tune in. Now this won't be on TikTok. I'll be TikTok later. So what I normally do is get it popping from YouTube because I could present my video. I could present my screen. I could do reactions. You can't do that on TikTok. And that get me hyped up like Flipper T. I'll be hyped up. Hype me up. And as I'm hyped up, I go on TikTok with that type of energy, with that motion, and I'll be ready to handle whatever. So tomorrow I am gonna gaslight some folks that's not non-FBA to hop on TikTok and speak to me. They're used to talking to people who are reckless and goofy and just want to argue. They have no idea they're hopping on with a scholar, and that'd be the funniest. Oh, but I am gonna play the end of the rest of the video on TikTok. Matter of fact, let me upload that now. All right, yeah, let me get it. So let me upload these videos. So on TikTok and YouTube, I'm gonna upload small snippets of my discussions with TikTokers over the week. Right, you had the Garviat guy, you had the Arawak Indian, you had a bunch of weird people who I just cooked and filleted, and even revenue. So yeah. So look out for those uploads on TikTok, and they're very entertaining, very funny, and YouTube as shorts. And that's it. We out. Peace to you guys. B1. Love you. Like, subscribe, notification bell, TikTok, like whatever you do, like it. Support $ unbiased Ron, and we out. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow morning. B1 to the family, and we are one with the